now noniosis. Coniosis. Pneuma now ultra microscopic Sela cow volcano coniosis, and I want you to pronounce
Pneumano ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis.
No, I had it right. I had it right the first time. It's pneumono ultra microscopic silico volcano. I can't get the whole word, so I can't read the end of it. Coniosis, yeah. Pneumono ultra microscopic silico coniosis.
Pneumano ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis.
Pneumano
ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis.
Pneumano ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis. See, I can't see the whole word because you're stupid. You're stupid at doing fucking DPI. Stupid fucking Google. Pneumano ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis. Let's see it. Pneumono ultra microscopic silicovolcanoconiosis.
Pneumano ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis.
That's the longest word in the English language. Pneumano ultra microscopic silicovolcanoconiosis.
Pneumano ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis.
It used to be anti-disestablishmentarianism. But now it's this. It's like a medical term. I don't know if medical terms should count. Pneumano, but they need it. This is how you say volcanic lung disease in Latin. It's pneumono ultramicroscopic silicovolcano, which means a ultra small lung disease that is the silica gel in volcanoes in your lungs. And see how I said it in an English description? But the Latin is actually, the whole word is a Latin word for all of the things that I said. It's pneumono, which means lung ailment. Ultra, which means like a lot of microscopic silica from a volcano. Coniosis, which is probably how it manifests. It probably causes like cones in your lungs that kill it. Pneumono ultra microscopic silicovolcanoconiosis.
Pneumano ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis.
I don't know why it matters. I just wanted to try and memorize it. My first attempt was the correct attempt, which I'm very proud about. I did not screw it up. I got the pronunciation the correct way the first time. I mangled it because I didn't know the pronunciation yet, but I didn't get the pronunciation wrong, which is good. I was not incorrect. Excuse me. Would be a better grammar. I was not wrong. Would have been the correct grammar. Excuse me. I was not wrong. So we go home to the structure dock.
Warp drive active.
Excuse me.
Would make it to the Scripps National Spelling Bee, a Louisville first. Unfortunately, she didn't win and aged out of competition. 8th grade is the limit.
So can I spell it, right? So now let's see if I can spell it right. I'm gonna put my hand over my eyes. I'm gonna pull the word. Oh god damn it. I think I closed it by mistake. Now I can't get any of my fucking browsers to load. Why? Why can't I get a browser to load? You're dumb.
Docking request accepted.
You're dumb there, see. You're dumb. Dumb. Anyways, pneumono. Yep, there it was. Pneumono microscope. Okay. So there's the word. So now I'm gonna cover my eyes, right? Pneumono would be PNEUMONO. MONO. Excuse me, not NONO. MONO. Pneumono Ultra is ULTRA. Microscopic is MICROSCOPIC. Pneumono Ultra Microscopic VOLCANO. And then I don't remember what the end of the word is. I believe it's... I can't remember what the end of the word is. I would need a hint to tell me what the word is, but I don't think I would misspell it. And I would not misspell the longest word in the English language, I don't think. It's, it's coniosis. I don't know. What is coniosis? Well, let's go find out what coniosis. What is coniosis? Coniosis is any of various diseases or conditions caused by dust inhalation. So my assumption that it's coniosis. It means dust inhalation. So yeah, this whole long Latin word is actually a whole paragraph of descriptive titles to help a doctor peg what a problem is in Latin. And so the main takeaway, though, of the whole word, which is always the last bit of the Latin word, see, it's always the last one, is coniosis is the main problem. That's the dust in your lungs, right? Is dust inhalation. So I'm like, what is coniosis? Because I thought it might have been cones in your lungs caused by dust. Like maybe if you inhaled enough dust, it put holes in your lungs, and the holes appear like backwards cones. Would have been my guess as a doctor, not as a doctor, but if I, as like if I were trying to get at the doctor nomenclature here. But I don't know. I don't really know. That one's technical.
But hope wasn't lost as her younger brother Dev would pick up the J-Swall Spelling Bee mantle. Inspired by his sister, Dev would begin entering spelling bees in the 5th grade, and he actually caught the attention of his entire state when he made it to the...
Oh, he won the spelling bee. I won some spelling bees over the years.
2012 Mississippi State Spelling Bee and won.
You say it's weird. I have no sympathy for this kid because I've been through the same thing.
Successfully spelled the championship word, mordacious.
Mordacious is not a hard word. It's like bodacious, except instead of bow, it's M-O-R-D. That is not a hard fucking word. M-O-R-D-A-C-I-O-U-S. That is not hard. Give me like conscience. That'll screw up some people. CONSCIENCE. I think. Conscience, which is like, it's not conscious, but conscience. Conscience. Oh, God. Conscience. It's like conscience, right? Yeah. Conscience, right? And I got it. I said CONSCIENCE. That's what I said. That's a hard word. Believe it or not. It looks easy, conscience, right? But when you actually try to spell it, fucking hard. Because you're like, it doesn't sound like science. It sounds like conscience. Which sounds like KONSHIENCE. But it spells like conscience. And this word will lose some. This will make or break some spelling bees. This is an interesting word that'll throw some people, definitely, all the time. And show me those words. This word, mordacious is not a fucking, it's like mordacious. I don't even remember what it means. It's like, oh, it's somebody like, oh no, it's an animal term having to do with biting. I didn't know what it was.
After a hard-fought...
Oh, it's biting. I'm saying mordacious is snarky or like cutting. Yeah. Now I've heard the word before. I like, but I knew that usage of it. I was like, it's very snarky was the word I was looking for, but it's not. It's biting. Biting is the word I'm looking for. Actually, it's biting. Biting or given to biting, but bitten in is with mordacious acid, right? It's biting. It's like cutting. It just like cuts right through, no problem.
Gauntlet against other competitors several years older than him.
Mordacious is hard though. Now notice, the same word that I came with was conscience, which is conscience, right? Is how I always think of it. Conscience, which is conscience. Now notice, mordacious though, the end of it, ACIOUS, might really, really throw a lot of people. And it has the same sort of trick ending. Mordacious, right? You could think EUS. You could think MORDACEUS. You could think IOUS. You could think COUS. You could think mordacious, like MORDACOUS without an I. And the real word is mordacious. Mordacious. No, it is mordacious. Mordacious is the word. But I think of it as mordacious because it's like we pronounce conscious, or I'm conscious of this decision, right? It's the ending of the word conscious, which is the same fucking word as conscience, essentially. And so the same word, the same reason that I cited that would trip people up, also would trip up the same, was a reason for him to be proud of winning this, because it is a hard word. That the last 6 letters of this word will throw most good writers, I would say. They're not going to know if it's EUS or IOUS or just COUS. They don't know.
Winning a
and so the reason this is true is because the word is probably most likely mispronounced. Like the people that probably do not say mordacious, they probably say mordacious, right? And so this is why spelling that word is probably considered so tricky, because the IOUS ending words are actually really hard. They can be very hard. They'll throw you for a loop. They're the hardest things in the English language, in my opinion.
State spelling bee.
They're also hard to say. Conscience, conscious. Conscious is not a very natural word. Conscious, I am conscious of my decisions, right? Conscious is not a natural word, but conscious is. Conscious is a very... Conscience is a natural word, but conscious is not. It doesn't really roll off the tongue. It's not a very natural word. Conscious is a word that I really struggle to spell. Conscious. See it? And I misspelled it. Look, I missed a C. See it? CONSIOUS, but you'll miss that C because it's silent. And conscious is a really tricky word. I would lose the spelling bee over a word like this because I always miss that C for some reason. Notice how they all sound the same. What was it? Mordius. Mortius or whatever
qualifies
it is.
a person to enter
Fighting.
the prestigious National Script Spelling Bee in Washington, D.C. This is a big deal for Dev's case in particular because in the 93-year history of script spelling bees, Mississippi has yet to have one representative take the championship.
Awesome.
With
Go.
Dev's help, perhaps this would be the year
Go,
that
Dev.
Louisville would bring home the gold.
Superstar.
In May of 2012, Dev was sent to Washington, D.C. to participate in his first National Bee. There were 278 contestants
National
and over
Bee.
$30,000 was on the line. There's little footage archived from this event, but there does exist a clip online that shows Dev speaking after completing round 1 of the Bee, a round that requires individuals to take a written test spelling a series of words.
When was that moment for you when you were finally able to...
After I finished taking that test,
Yeah.
the round 1 test, it was so long and it was so hard that when I was finally done, I was like, I could finally get out.
Now you got a smile on your face.
Yeah.
And you're probably a little bit more relaxed.
I was very tense in the room. In the beginning, it was really hard, and then I thought I wasn't going to do it at all. And then through the middle, I thought, okay, I'll do fine because it got easier. And then at the end, it got very hard again. So I'm like, I don't know at all how it's going to be.
I don't
So
know
it
what
got
it's going to
hard, then
be.
it got
That's
easier.
what's so scary about it. You don't know what the word is going to be, and that's what's so scary. You're like, I don't know. What if it's one that I've got some kind of learning disability with? Because that's kind of what it is. Like for me, I always had a learning disability around the word conscious, CONSCIOUS. Right? I spelled it right that time because I remembered the C. And I had a learning disability around that word, and it would come up in spelling bees. It's a popular word for spelling bees because it'll sink contests. People fuck up on that word, you know? I do.
It got hard again.
After the written test, Dev would make it through round 2 of the Scripps National by successfully spelling the word idiopathic. He then makes it and
Idiopathic is such an easy word.
passes through the 3rd round by correctly spelling the word
Qatari is a Q.
Qatari.
Yeah.
Points gained in these rounds would be added to the score that Dev made in his written test, and this is where we start getting into some unfortunate revelations. If contestants had a total sum of 23 correct spellings, they would be admitted into the semifinals. Well, unfortunately, Dev wouldn't make the cut. He says this on Twitter. Unfortunately, I am not advancing to the semis. I spelled 17 out of 31 correctly. 23 would advance you. Good luck to all these semifinalists. Dev was out of the competition, but he wasn't discouraged. Determined to get another shot at the National Bee, Dev begins to enter the state bees again. After struggling on the local level in 2013 and 2014, Dev finally caught a break as an 8th grader in 2015, where he won the Mississippi State Bee by successfully spelling the word Eliatic, once again qualifying him for the national competition.
Eliatic. E-L-E-A-T-I-C. Eliatic.
ELEATIC. Eliatic? Yeah.
That's it.
You won. That's it. You won, man.
How do you feel right now about being the winner?
Amazing.
I'm really, really happy right now and really, really glad that all my hard work paid off.
And when did you win before?
I won in 2012 when I was a 5th grader.
I'm extremely proud. And
He won it 5 years before when he was 12. Oh my god, these fucking nerds.
so excited.
I swear to God, like, I mean, I used to be like this. I'm not anymore. I put a whole lot of holes in my brain with drugs. But before I did that, like Hunter S. Thompson, right? But before I did that, I really was pretty good at math, science, spelling, history. I don't know. Name the subject.
You helped him out a little bit with it,
A
too.
little bit. Whenever I was home, I tried to quiz him when I could. But he did most of the work himself, so I'm very, very proud of that.
So Dev
These days I would fail at math because I just haven't done it. I have stopped doing math since I was like 24. I just rely on calculators. I let others do my work for me, and I don't remember. I remember order of operations, but I don't remember anything else about algebra. I remember the order of operations like fucking like the back of my hand. And I remember multiplication and long division perfectly, and like addition and subtraction. But like trig and calculus, totally gone now that I've damaged my brain. I remember some of it. I would definitely be able to do complex algebra, but trig and like cosines and stuff like that, I don't know. It's been so long, I'd have to do a crash course for several weeks before I feel like I could compete with people who do it every day, because I just haven't used it. I haven't used it in 20 years. It's like knowledge is just gone. I don't really need that kind of math in my life. I do a lot of complex division and fractions and stuff for my MMO career, but I don't do stuff like trig, like what's 13th to the nth power divided by beta cosine over like I've lost the equation. I'd have to write it out now. I don't know. I'd have to. I mean, I used to be that good at math, but I have not used it in 20 years, and I really just do not remember. I don't remember how to pick it up off the top of my head and pass an SAT. I don't think anymore. I would have to do it every day for some weeks, I think, if in order to be able to say that I could do trig again. Or like, and I must admit this about my personality, I try to tell myself that I can still be this 1490 SAT score person, but I don't think so. Some of that knowledge is totally lost to time and misuse, and not misuse, but just disuse. You know, I never did use complex fucking trig for anything, you know? I just never had a need for that in my job. I never was working with stuff like physics or anything like that, Newtonian physics or anything like that. But I have fundamental understandings of Euclidean. I passed the entrance exam to, but there wasn't enough seats. It was so annoying. I passed the entry exam to St. John's in Santa Fe, New Mexico, which is like a school based off Euclidean geometry. In Santa Fe, right? It's literally like St. John's is an interesting school, and it was the school that I chose to go to because my ex-girlfriend graduated from here, and the girlfriend that I lost my virginity to, my first girlfriend, she graduated from here, and like I love this school, and I went and I tried out there, and I stayed there as if I was a freshman I wasn't a freshman. I was a senior in high school, and I went to stay down in St. John's for 3 solid days, and I toured classes, and I toured the campus, and I drank and got high with the kids, and I met my ex-girlfriend's friends and all this, and it was a really amazing place. And you have to understand, this school is based off of Platonian philosophy, Euclidean geometry, and the classics of writing, and basically like the Greek and Greco-Roman traditions. And in order to cut the mustard in a school like this, you must be able to write a thesis about Euclidean geometry and how it doesn't really apply to your existentially, you might have a crisis that Euclidean geometry does not apply to your job. And you need to be able to write a thesis paper about that. And that's the level that I was expected to be at my entire fucking life. And so when I watch other nerds struggle, I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I can't do trig like you because you at least did trig in the last 10 years. I haven't. So I can't do trig like you, right? I just can't. It's not in my memory banks anymore. But I bet I understand the fucking concepts better. I bet if it was to come down to like a Breaking Bad moment, and I had to start the car battery in the fucking Winnebago, right? I bet I could do it. I bet I could do it. I bet I would have come up with that problem sooner or later. I would have been like, well, what conducts electricity? Metal and fucking water, you know? And I would have gone looking for electrolyte water. It's not that hard, you know. It's just weird. I just don't know what I would have done. I don't know. I probably would have died because I would have been like, I'm too lazy to think my way out of this. I'm just gonna think about all my problems that I didn't solve before I just die of deprivation out here in the Winnebago. That was such a great episode of Breaking Bad when they're trapped in the dead Winnebago, and they've got to like fucking Heisenberg has got to figure out how to start the fucking Winnebago using MacGyver tools inside of the Winnebago. How do you start a Winnebago with a dead battery out there in the desert? It's actually a really interesting problem. It's how do you do that? And the answer is you get galvanized steel from all the nuts and the bolts around the fucking car. Even in the engine, you'd have to go digging for nuts and bolts. And you get galvanized fucking steel. You soak it in water and you get it electrolyzed, and you use it to conduct a charge in the beaten down generator. And you've got your flow to charge the battery, which is how we came up with batteries in the first fucking place. And if you don't know your fucking Tesla and your Edison, you shouldn't be talking about electricity. But I do. I was trained to know these things. You know? Like, I do know Tesla. I know Tesla very well. Everything he ever did. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, it's like kind of weird. It's you look at other people trying to struggle with things that they consider to be intelligentsia stuff or like, you know, I would say, you know, intellectual, but they don't understand the concepts. They are a tourist. And this is a common problem with academia, especially with people who graduate from college. Because they think just because they have that degree, they have some piece of fucking paper that tells them that they're the end-all be-all fucking knowledge source of whatever that piece of paper says. And I fucking disagree. Most of them don't have a fucking fundamental basis in the fundamentals. And this is how science works. That's what the Socratic method is. That's what that is what the scientific method is trial and error and figuring out what will make point A trace to point B in an equation, or what 2 + 2 = 4, and what's on both sides of the equation. That's what science and math is. So it's like, you know, you have to, like, you know, you have to be precise, and there's a lot of people out there acting like they can prove the Pythagoras theorem, you know? And I don't remember what the Pythagoras theorem is, but I'm fairly sure I remember the concepts. And let's do a crash course in Pythagoras because I don't remember. I have holes in my brain from brain damage and 20 years of hard drug use. And so I really don't remember the basics of Pythagoras theorem, the Pythagorean theorem, right? Which is like, as I remember, it's the right triangle. Yeah, it's the right triangle. Yeah, as I believe it's the hypotenuse triangle. Yeah, there we go. It's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And that's how you make a triangle. It's actually a square, you know? It's actually 1/4 of a cube or 1/4 of a square turned hypotenuse or a right angle. It's a right angle. See it? It's a right angle. It's hypotenuse. And the Pythagoras theorem for dummies states that in a right angled triangle, the square of the hypotenuse side is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides, or you can't have a triangle. You see it? Triangles are always two of the sides. In a right angled triangle, if you want a right angled triangle, C and B have to be equal. See it? Or sorry, A and B will always equal what C is. A plus B will always equal what C is. Do you see how I see it backwards? See, now he thought of it as C equals a squared plus b squared, the sum of the squares of the other two sides, right? Which is a simple thing when you think of a triangle. It's a simple thing to understand that, a plus b is always going to equal what c is. But I mean, I don't think of it like that. I think of it as b plus a. I have such a backwards brain. I think of it as b plus a will always equal c, because b is the progenitor, essentially. B plus a will always equal c, but the only way that he could prove it was c equals a squared plus b squared. And so so you could argue Euclidean geometry about this, and it's strange because, like, normally you would say that c and b are the same. You see it? Normally you would say that c and b is the same, but it's not. It's a plus b equals c always. And that's very weird. It's very weird for human brain to understand. It's not weird. It's just not normal for us to think of it like that. It's a good way for math to have a foundation in science and triangles and geometry and fractions and all this geometry and all this sacred geometry and fucking Euclidean geometry and all this. It's all good. It's all good to understand these things. But you could also see it in a bunch of different ways, which is here. You can see all of these images, right? If we come to the images, you can see, I see it very differently than how Pythagoras saw it, which is I say b squared plus a squared equals c is actually how I would have arrived at it. But I mean, he says c equals a plus b squared. So if we go to the images and we show you how else we can see this, you're going to see that mankind thinks of this in 7 or 8 different ways. You can think of it as the equation. You can think of it as a and c and b. A2 plus B2 equals C2. You can think of it as this, as how I think of it. B will always be equal to B and C will always be equal to A. But you always start with B. Do you see it? The base of the triangle should always be B. B plus C is A. But I mean, in order for him to do it right, he would have had to start with C squared is equal to A and B squared. And now that you understand that, you can make a triangle with any square geometry. And that's how we got Rust, the game Rust. That's how we got the building in Rust, right? That's how we get, like, all of our building, all of our architecture and all this. And so I think a lot of people will quote the theorem at you because they know the theorem. But when you ask them what the fundamentals are of it, and I now memory-wise, they might do better than me. They might remember all this better than me, definitely. But principle-wise, I think I'm further. Like, okay, 6 squared plus a squared plus x squared is the exact same thing. It's the exact same thing as a squared plus b squared equals c squared. It doesn't matter what it is. 36 plus 64 equals x squared. It's all the same. 100 equals x squared, or 100 over cosine x2 or whatever. It's all base 10 number systems to make hypotenuse and right triangles and all this and all this and 90 degrees and 180 degrees and all this and 720 and all this. It's hard to describe this stuff, but if you understand the principles, you can use it when you need it. And that's my issue with a lot of mankind. They memorize like, for instance, okay, a really wonderful thing that one of my best friends did is memorize pi to like 300 places. And now I don't know why she did this, but she did it. Now, I don't think she knows what pi... I mean, she knows what pi is, but I don't think she would ever use pi in her job, right? So she absolutely knows what pie is. She's told me many times before. She knows what pie is, but it will never come up in her life. It will never come up in mine either. And so I want to respect her for memorizing pi 300 places. But the fundamentals of pi don't, they don't apply to her daily life. And it's funny, she's the one who taught me to look at it like that. She's the emotionally intelligent one. So when something doesn't apply to your personal life, it's of little value to her as it is to me. And so she memorized pi because she felt that it might legitimize her in the eyes of nerds, which it did. It did, I would say. It absolutely served that purpose. It did something. I don't know why she decided to do it. She just did. She liked the idea of memorizing pi 300 places, so she did. And I don't know, and it's to prove that her memory is super good and that her math is super good and her mind is super good, and it is. She's probably more intelligent than me. She's a really intelligent girl. But I worry about fundamentals sometimes with these people, because like now when we come to the actual equations, I could solve these equations. But they'll tell you A plus B equals C. And they'll be like, I know the fundamental concept. But then if you ask them, okay, well then what's 12 squared plus y squared equals 13 squared? And they're like, okay, I don't know. They're going to be like, I don't know. I don't even know how to begin to do the order of operations on that. Now I do, So, it's like, so you look at it like there's brackets, there's colons, and so there's what do they call it? Yeah, it's like colons around the 12(2) plus y2. We must solve for 13(2). So we go 12 squared, of course, is 144 plus y squared is 144 equals 13 squared, which is, a right triangle. It's this. I'm sorry. It's a not an isosceles, but a hypotenuse triangle. And I can see the matrix of the math. I can do this. I can do the fucking equations. I have the grasp of the knowledge of it. I don't have the practice, and I don't have the daily use, and I don't have the need to understand the principles, but I do understand them. And that's the problem. I think a lot of people don't. That's the difference. So when I get angry at people for certain things, like for instance, I get angry at a philanthropist for giving a middle-class white person a handicap van, which is going to get me a bad rap with a lot of people. I bet some people would try to cancel me for that, I would say. But my issue is if you have any idea what it's like in the ghettos of America, if you've ever actually lived there, you would never give that money to a middle-class white person. You just wouldn't do it. If you had ever actually seen the ravages of poverty in the ghettos of America across this country, you would never give this money to a middle-class person. It's just not a responsible thing to do. So I hit them on the fundamentals of philosophy, of philanthropy, which is helping those who need it the most, right? Not Mr. White Middle Class. And sure, he might not have the money in the moment. He might be fucked in the moment. But he's not fucked for life. You know what I'm saying? He's not FFL.
Preparing for the National B. And
like
in the
me.
few years since the previous one, he had learned some strategies and...
He didn't come up in the fucking ghetto. He's not FFL like me. He's not fucked for life. You understand me? He's not fucked for... He's not FFF. He's not fucked for free. He's not. So don't give him the minivan money. Take that money on down to the fucking ghetto and fund a food bank. Don't be giving middle-class people fucking minivans. Middle-class people have too many minivans. What's the big fucking stereotype about Karens? It's a minivan, isn't it?
Wisdom in regard to spelling words that he had never previously encountered. In this interview, he shares some tricks of the trade.
Last word. This word I've never ever seen before.
Alldayerrydaybaby.
Soccer moms. Soccer and minivans. For their kids.
Principally asserted the unity of
And when he told me it was like a school of philosophy and it was Greek, I got Greek.
Yep, School of Philosophy and Greek. And he was like, absolutely, I am a spelling god and I need phoneticism in my life.
Has certain ways they would put letters together.
Is phoneticism a word? I don't think it is. Which is proof that I'm an idiot, guys. Let's go see. Phoneticism. Oh! A form of spelling in which the spoken sound occurs with a written symbol. Phoneticism. I nailed it. I could spell it, and it was absolutely the word that I meant and needed. And I nailed it. Phoneticism. You guys know what that means? A phonetic writing scheme. It means you can spell it out like that word, what was it? Was it M or something? I forget what the word is now already. It's so stupid. The volcano thingy. The volcano dust lungs thingy. Dust lungs disease word. Pneumono ultra microscopic volcanoconiosis. Right? So now this is the phonetic spelling of this word.
Newman ultra microscopic silicovolcanoconiosis.
I am able to suss out the word, the pronunciation of this word through phoneticism, a phonetic writing scheme, which means that you spell it out. You pronounce it how it's spelled, which is pneumono ultra microscopic silicovolcanoconiosis.
Newman ultra microscopic silicovolcanoconiosis. Newman ultra microscopic silicovolcanoconiosis.
Newman ultra.
Newman ultra microscopic silicovolcanoconiosis.
Newman ultra microscopic silicovolcanosis.
Newman ultra microscopic silicovolcanoconiosis.
It's a made-up word coined in 1935 by the then president of the National Puzzlers League, Everett M. Smith. It has sometimes been used as a synonym for the occupational disease known as silicosis, but it should not be, as most silicosis is silica in the lungs, right? Is not related to mining of volcanic dust. It is the longest word in the English language, published in a popular dictionary, Oxford Dictionaries, which defines it as an artificial long word said to mean a lung disease caused by inhaling very fine ash and sand dust. Clinical and toxicological research conducted on volcanic crystalline silica has found little to no evidence of its ability to cause silicosis or pneumoconiosis like diseases, and geochemical analyses have shown that there are inherent factors in the crystalline structure which may render volcanic crystalline silica much less pathogenic than some other forms of crystalline silica. Silicosis is a form of occupational lung disease caused by inhalation of crystalline silica dust, which is the actual fucking word. But he just tacked on a bunch of stupid shit to it that he didn't need to because he was a puzzler. What is the National Puzzlers League? It is. He was a crossword guy. And so he was looking for the longest word in the English language, and he made it up. And he tried to pretend that it was a real word, and it became a real word, which is just more proof that you can fake it to make it, pretty much. It's just crazy. But it's not a real word. The longest word in the English language was, was acknowledged by Oxford as a real word, but it's not a real word. It's just some made-up fucking thing by some idiot, which is just hilarious. That sounds like humanity in America to me.
I just kind of use rules in my head that I could remember. It's not just about memorizing completely everything. It's about learning why those letters are put together.
Yep, it's the phoneticism. Phoneticism. See, now, I wish she would say the word. I wish she would say the word like I did.
On May 24th of 2015, Dev was sent to Washington, D.C. to compete with 283 of the United States best spellers for the $38,000 grand prize and the prestige that comes along with being crowned Scripps Bee champion. This spelling bee would prove to be one of the most difficult challenges Dev had faced in his life, and the competition was fierce, the words were brutal.
Scherenschnitter.
Scherenschnitter is a German word. I don't know why he's having to spell it. Scherenschnitter, I would have failed. You guys want to see this word? It's SCHERENSCHNITTE. Sorry, I misspelled. SCHERENSCHNITTE. This is another conscious word. See, look at the word conscious, right? SCH, but there's no H, right? There's no H in there. Now look at this word. This word sounds like shit. It sounds like shit to me. What happened to this fucking video? Sharon Schnitta is SCHERENSCH again, NITTE. And I don't know, that is not an English word. And I don't know why he would know how to spell it. And I don't know, Sharon sounds like an A, not an E.
In the later rounds, competitors were dropping like flies, and
but we do say SHER as sharer. We do that.
Dev was almost,
and then in Latin,
one of these
Latin-based languages, we do that does happen.
But thanks to the skills picked up throughout his spelling career, he managed to stay in the fight thanks to a clutch spelling of the word Bacchius.
Bacchius.
Bacchius?
B-A.
May I have the definition, please?
Bacchius or Bacchius is a metrical foot of 3 syllables. The first short.
Metrical foot. What do you mean? A metrical foot. Now, what?
Latin, which formed it from a Greek word.
What do you mean metrical foot? What is a metrical foot?
Is a metrical foot of 3 syllables. The first.
Oh, it's a metrical foot of 3 syllables. The first short. Bacchius is a nomenclature that you apply to certain things.
The other two.
Kind of like, say, in medical world, the good one would be like pneumoniosis, right? Osis, right? Osis is an example of this. Bacchius is kind of like the word osis. You would add it on to other things to mean 3 short syllables, like abede. So Bacchius would mean abede or something like that.
Too long.
May I have the language of origin?
Latin.
It's from Latin, which formed it from a Greek word.
Can you use it in a sentence?
Rumor has it that Drake's next mixtape contains a rap in which every verse begins and ends with a Bacchius.
Bacchius.
He didn't ask for part of speech, but it should have been clear from the definition. That should clarify the ending of the word. The middle of this word could be sticky, unless he recognizes the Greek.
Bacchius is a very simple word to spell. It's Bakayyas. It's a very simple word.
Name from mythology.
Bacchius. B-A-C.
Oh. Now, he thought he meant Bacchius, but he actually meant Bakayyus, which none of us have ever heard of before. And he won the spelling bee anyways, because he thought that they meant Bacchius. Wow. What a fucking trip. And they were like, no, you lose. And he was like, no, it's a disambiguation.
C-H-I-U-S. Bacchius.
Correct.
Bacchius, now I thought it was Bakayyas, because now I guess in Latin it would be BACC. Yeah, I didn't understand why he was asking in Latin.
With that correct spelling, Dev found himself in that last batch of 49 competitors.
Now, I've heard of the word Bacchius. I just had never heard of the word Bacchius.
And the words in this round, to say the least, were extreme. Bacchius is just a small sampling from the basket of abominations the coordinators of this event call word.
Kokozel, Samadhi. Samadhi is a very common word. Albumblatt, Billiken, Hippocrene, Thaumacow, Caudelismo, Baucater, Bocadier. Oh, Bocadier. That's a French word. Thaumacow. That's almost like that Bacchius word, Thaumacow. I thought it was Bacchius, Bakakyus, because I didn't know what the word was. I still don't know what a Bacchius is.
Here are some other examples. You've got commissurotomy,
Commissurotomy? Wow.
Hypocrypiform. Cytopoiesis.
Cytopoiesis.
And,
not poiesis.
Sparagifool?
Spragifool. Spragifuel. Sprachfuel. 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 The character of a language. Wow. The Sprachfuel. Sprachfuel. The character of the language. Sprachfuel.
Yeah, we'll count that. And of course, you can't have a discussion about challenging words from the 2015 Scripps National B without mentioning the word that would inadvertently make Dev Jayswal a living meme. Iridocyclitis. What the hell is
iridocyclitis? Iridocyclitis. I mean, it's fairly phonetic.
Iridocyclitis is an eye condition in which your iris and the ciliary body become inflamed or swollen. Does that mean anything to you?
No.
Well, here's a photo of it. Iridocyclitis is by no means a word that finds itself in the lexicon of an everyday person.
Anybody.
But thanks to the viral mechanism of Vine, this word would be ingrained in anybody interested in meme culture. And it was also the word that doomed Dev Jayswal's chances of winning the 2015 Scripps National B.
Iridocyclitis. I-R-I-D-O C-I C-L-I-T-I-S. Iridocyclitis.
No, it's the cycla cycle.
Iridocyclitis is spelled.
He's tired. He was tired.
Idocyclitis.
Iridocyclitis knocked Dev out at 4th place, but he would take his loss gracefully. After making it this far and losing, one might expect Dev to...
It was funny because he just said this spelling bee knocked Dev out because the kid's name is Dev, but the fucking AI thought that he said the word devout when he said Dev out.
Up in tears and dejectedly slink off stage, but that's not what happened.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. I don't care. I really don't care about winning or losing. That's just immaterial. It's the fact that I took the shot. Thank you so much for even giving me the chance. Yeah, there's a real motherfucking winner. Thank you so much, everybody. Hells yeah, there's a winner. They loved it. They loved it. Thank you so much, everybody. We love you.
He is such a happy kid. Just a good boy, his mom said.
So now we've got a 4th place finisher, Dev Jayswal, happy with what he accomplished on his way home. Unbeknownst to him at this time, the internet is making a mockery out of him thanks to this iridocyclitis phenomenon.
Iridocyclitis.
It's hard to exactly say what makes this meme funny, but
Iridocyclitis.
I reckon it has something to do with Dev's laser focus in the clip, and of course his rather robotic pronunciation of iridocyclitis. When it's shown out of context of it, you know, being in a spelling bee and all that, it is kind of puzzling and chuckle-worthy to say the least.
Iridocyclitis.
With the nature of this clip being more of a laughing at than laughing with Dev, you might imagine that becoming the butt of an internet joke would take away from the amazing experience that he just went through. But at the time, it seemed like nothing could hinder this young man's cheerful spirit. While he was now forever going to be known as the Iridocyclitis Kid, the warm welcome home from the residents of his small town of Louisville, Mississippi helped Dev realize how appreciated he really was, and how proud those who knew him personally were of him. This is the emotional reception when Dev makes it home.
Who was overcome with emotion as he stepped out of his family's van.
Oh, he's like, hi.
It's been the best experience of my entire
He's just crying. He's like, oh, you guys showed love. Yeah, we showed love, man. Sometimes you don't win, but you still win.
life. Thank you for all the support. This is the biggest trophy I could ever.
You're a real winner in the end. When they see your real spirit, they'll elevate you above the crowd.
receive.
The welcome home to Louisville also included a warm embrace with his father Upendra, whom Dev had not seen in a week.
Humans are funny. They're exactly like pack animals. If you show them leadership and strength, they'll elevate you. They'll put you up there at the head of the pack, and it's the man who's faking it who deserves to be dragged down, beaten, and eaten by the other dogs. It's the man like Dev who isn't faking it, who does deserve to lead the pack.
It's a gift from the God that I want to say thank you.
Oh. We love Dev. We love Dev.
The community here is so great, and I just want to thank everyone. Definitely all of the support I received from all of the friends and friendships I made, and everything, really. I love to represent my state to the best of my ability.
Yeah, to the best of my ability. It's winter talk.
Smiled and laughed and showed the same emotion and appreciation as Dev Jaiswal.
He's very, very verbose. I like it.
Clytus meme lives on in the annals of meme history, but what about Dev himself? What became of him? Dev would never again take the stage for the Scripps National Spelling Bee, as he would age out like his sister did before him. But regardless of this, he would go on to achieve academic greatness. After high school, Dev would be admitted to the prestigious Princeton University, a world-renowned Ivy League school in New Jersey where only 6% of applicants get accepted. According to Dev's public LinkedIn profile, he's currently pursuing a bachelor's degree in psychology with a minor in journalism. Dev would also go on to serve as a spelling bee tutor for younger kids, serving as a mentor,
there's where the
sharing
money
the
is.
strategies he
That's where the
learned in
money
his bee
is.
career and passing them on to others. And of course, aside from his dedication to academia, there's also the full-time job of being known as the Iridocyclitis Kid. There are a handful of photos online showing Dev posing with folks that have recognized him in public, indicating that he is a good sport about the meme. And a post from 2017 also shows that he can take a bit of a joke. That said though, he does wish more people saw the full Iridocyclitis segment where he misspells the word and then gets a round of applause by the audience and thanks them and just shows his grateful side. This is what he had to say in an interview from November of 2021. Yeah, I've always sort of felt like there are two camps of people who have seen that video. Originally, it wasn't the whole video that took off from there. It was just a shorter clip, which I've always been confused by because, like, personally, I don't see what's funny. I just said the word.
Iridocyclitis.
He continues, I was pretty happy when the longer video took off of me as well because that was a special moment for me.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Dev will likely continue to achieve great things in life. He's a brilliant guy, and I wish him nothing but the best. That, my friends, was the journey of Dev Jaiswal, the Iridocyclitis Kid, from a young speller to a living meme to a Princeton University attendee. The meme exodus is an inspiring story involving one man's dedication to a silly internet joke. Intermingling a passion for cycling with internet humor, Twitter user Ruben Lopez live posts his nearly 2,500-mile cycling trip from Poo Poo Point in Washington State to PP Creek, Ohio. This is that epic journey. This story
Poo Poo. Wait, what? To PP Creek? Wait, what? Poo Poo Point to PP Creek? Why? Why?
For story involving Princeton University attendee. The
Princeton
meme Exodus
University.
is an inspiring story involving one man's dedication to a silly internet joke. Intermingling a passion for cycling with internet humor, Twitter user Ruben Lopez live posts his nearly 2,500-mile cycling trip from Poo Poo Point in Washington State to PP Creek, Ohio.
PP Creek.
This is that epic journey.
Awesome.
This story begins with our protagonist, 24-year-old musician, Twitter memester, and cycling enthusiast Ruben Lopez.
So my name's Ruben. I'm primarily a musician, but I also love biking cross country. I love everything about it.
Ruben by trade is a session drummer, and when not drumming, he's making
I like
shit
biking
posts on
across the
Twitter
country.
and crushing pumpkins between his thighs.
I biked cross country once.
Now that's
I would
impressive.
only do it once.
Ruben is also an avid cyclist, having completed several cross-country trips in his time.
So like I've been from like Chicago to Orlando.
I went from
I did,
motherfucking
Chicago
New Mexico
California.
to
In the summer of
Montpelier,
2020,
Vermont.
Ruben was in the middle of planning for his next cycling trip.
Santa Fe,
which
New
was
Mexico
be
to
from
Montpelier,
Seattle to
Vermont.
Chicago, but a Twitter
We started
meme
at,
post that he
St.
stumbled
John's.
upon around this time inspired him to make some changes to his course. On June 20th of
Because my
2020,
ex-girlfriend wasn't the only friend that I knew that went to St. John's. I knew a lot of kids from Waldorf who went to St. John's. So St. John's is where we started, and then we ended up in Montpelier. And my bike was like, I packed my bike up and I flew home.
user shared a post claiming that their stepdad had sent him a text message proposing that the next family road
This
trip
was
would be
long before I was fat. Long before.
from Poo Poo Point in Washington
Poo Poo Point.
to PP Creek in Ohio.
The scariest part was when there was a fucking... We were rolling people... yeah, that's no good. I want to get my buff in case I have to fight. Hide. Why was there like 20 people right there? They were going the wrong way. Ugh. Oh no, why did you unstealth and stuff? Stop. Ooh, Ashenvale Bear for free. I'll take it, yeah. Poo Poo Point to PP Creek.
An obvious joke, right? Well, this tweet ended up going viral, amassing close to 300,000 likes.
Oh
and a
my
spark
God.
of intrigue grew amongst those in the tweet's replies.
Poo Poo Point to PP Creek. Yep.
People were asking themselves, hey, what if someone actually did this Poo Poo to PP Creek route? That would be pretty epic, wouldn't it? Well, Ruben, who was previously unaware of these two laughably named locations, he became inspired by this tweet and decided that he would be the one to step up to the challenge and actually make the journey from Poo Poo to PP Creek on a bicycle.
And then I saw the Poo Poo Pee Pee trip online, and I was like, oh, I gotta do that one.
I gotta do
it
that
just
one.
so happened that that is exactly where I wanted to go.
Before beginning his adventure, Ruben shares his intent to make this trip on social media and links to a GoFundMe with a $5,000 goal intended to help raise money for Yemen's ongoing humanitarian crisis. Then, of course, he gets prepared for this 2,500-mile meme quest that he's about to embark on. How are you preparing for this mentally, and what kind of gear are you bringing with you?
Since I've done trips like this before, I kind of know what to expect, and I'm really in touch with like just like myself as a whole to be able to do something like this, because you spend hours and days by yourself. However much you decide to spend on the gear that you tried to bring, like of course there's like essentials and stuff, but depending on how much you put into it is gonna determine how comfortable you are. What I brought was a tent, bag of clothes. You know, I have like little things like, you know.
There it is, and this is what my bike looks exactly like this. Yep. You get your nice paracord, bungee cord, the bungee cord and paracord and stuff. You got your nice lock, and you got like all your stuff. I had a bigger panniers. I had bigger panniers than this. I don't know why he wouldn't have bigger panniers. You need bigger panniers than this. You need like, I don't know. Yeah, you definitely need a lot of tires and stuff. I do see that he's got tires and all that stuff. Yeah, like light was a problem. The scariest part was when we had stopped in New Mexico in the desert and we ran out of water. And that was scary. It literally got very scary. We had to stop at a fucking convenience store in the middle of the desert and like get water out of their bathroom, which they weren't happy about. And they were like, "What are you doing?" And we were like, "Yeah, we're just biking." And they're like, "You could die doing this. You're an idiot." And so we like took a lot of water with us, and I feel bad for that gas station. We took some gallons of water from them.
Stuff, and I had a sleeping bag also toward the end because it was getting cold.
On August 19th, Ruben makes his way from Seattle, Washington, and travels about 20 minutes southeast to the most hallowed of excrement-themed trailheads, Poo Poo Point. He takes a photo to show Twitter that he means business, and shortly after, he begins his route to Pee Creek, Ohio. He had a long road ahead of him, weeks of cycling and 10 states to traverse, but Ruben was determined to make meme history here, and he had a small group of supporters cheering him on that would only grow in time.
That is a dumb route. I would never, ever take the Chicago route. You should have cut through Illinois. Much more flat, much less problems, much less traffic, much less humans. Like, the problem with bikes is anywhere there's bikes, there's cars, and anywhere there's cars and bikes together, you have accidents. So that busy-ass Chicago fucking, I don't know.
Ruben's first obstacle on this trip would be an uphill battle through the Rocky Mountains.
So in the beginning, it starts really slow. It's probably like 60 to 70 miles a day, which it sounds like a lot, but you have, you know, from when
it's not a lot. It's 60, 70 is about right. On a bike, you will actually go a few miles pretty fast. People ride 2 to 5 miles on bikes all the time, every day. So, like, you know, you think, like, 5 miles is, you know, not that bad. That's, like, what, a 15, 25-minute ride, maybe? You add it up, you start to realize, like, if you ride all day, you can get, like, maybe 70 to 100 miles an hour, 100 miles a day on a bicycle. It's one of the best inventions, if not the best invention humanity has ever come up with, because it's, like, the only transportation that you can make with essentially without an engine.
A bed to do it, so
and by engine I mean like a beating heart or a beating or a you know, a pistoning engine.
Keep moving. You just keep moving, man. Just gotta keep. You'll get somewhere if you keep moving. Feel me?
Sailing is another form of transportation that we kind of mastered.
Like at some point, my Achilles tendons were both of them at the same time
just gone. Yeah, like we had some people scrubbed out. We left with 11 people and 9 finished, because, like, you know, any like problems that you didn't know you had would show up. Yeah,
really shot, and I was limping on both legs.
Yeah, we had one person who literally just couldn't sit on a bike seat anymore. I couldn't either, frankly. It hurts so bad. After hundreds and hundreds of fucking miles, sitting on a bike seat all goddamn day, every day for weeks on end, it sucks. It's like butt rape, essentially. By the end of it, it's basically as painful as butt rape. You're like sitting on a fucking bike seat that's been like jostling you for, you know, fucking 5 weeks, and I lost a lot of weight on that trip. I lost like 100 pounds on that trip as it was. And yeah, just riding that fucking bike seat for 3 solid, it took us, I think, what was it? It was 3 weeks and 2 days, I think. Yeah, it was like, yeah, I think it was like 26 days, if I recall, I think. And yeah, it was 100 miles a day. It was crazy.
To get like
it was between 50 and 100 a day.
I got like some painkillers and stuff like that.
Yeah, like we needed painkillers and stuff, because like after a while your body is just wrecked from being in that position that long. when you lie down at night, you don't want to move for like 5 days because your body has been deeply bruised from being in the same position all day for days on end, just riding and riding and riding. Human body's not meant to do that, and it has some costs. But I mean, it's so beautiful and so fun, and you have community there with you. You don't do this alone, and it's, you know, it's good. It's really beautiful experience, but it's not for the faint of heart. It's for somebody around his age, I'd say. You probably want to do it when you're about like we did it when I was 19. Yeah, about 19, I'd say. It'd be about the right time to do that. You wouldn't want to do it when you're 30. You'd be too old.
Don't keep.
I mean, I'm sure Lance Armstrong does fine or whatever, but like overall, you wouldn't really want to do it much older than, I'd say, probably 30.
Wrong. But climbing mountains on a bicycle.
Because you get in over your head. There's no way I would do it now. To me, now it would be a death sentence. If I were to try to ride across the country right now, it would be a fucking death sentence. Even if I were to like get ready for it for like 4 months, it would still be a fucking death sentence right now. I'm far too fat for it. I was like 265 pounds when I started that trip, and I was like 176 when I finished, I think. You know? Something like that. And you really, all my friends lost all the weight. All of us were bone skinny, and like, you know, and it was a grueling time, and like the whole thing was draining, and it was really good, and there was times when it was scary because of water and stuff like that, but it wasn't, you know, it wasn't something that I regret. But I also don't remember it much. I remember hunkering over a wheel, staring at 5 people's asses all day, like, you know, or just leading the pack or being in the back or whatever, and repairing a lot of tires. I hate repairing bike tires, and I must have repaired like 26 tires or something on that trip, and like I hate doing that. And every time somebody got a flat tire, the entire community has to stop while that person fixes their fucking tire. It really wasn't that fucking good. It wasn't that fun as I wanted it to be. It was more like I had taken on a slave labor position for about 3 weeks, you know, and I knew I was going to live through it, but I don't regret it now, but I regretted it while I was on the trip. I was like, yeah, I don't know why I did this to myself. I can't go back now without disgracing myself to everybody. And it was weird because like there's this point where you're like, I really don't want to sit on a fucking bike seat. I've been on a bike seat for 2 solid weeks. I don't want to sit on a bike seat all day again. And so and there were days where we took a break. We just sat there in camp all goddamn day. I think like for 10 days of that like 26-day trip or whatever it was like 36 days. It was 36 days after. It was like 26 days of riding, and it was like 10 days of like motels, and like we would buy a motel and we would take showers. Oh, yep. Oh, okay. Yep. I de-stealthed, I guess? I thought I was stealthed. I think he just bumped me. I was stealthed and he bumped me because I was on the road. God damn it. Can't I get a fair fight? I almost got away. Oh, there's him. I want to get him. Get him, boys. Oh, I want in on it. No. Don't kill him without me. No. Damn it, you're annoying. How did he see me? So annoying. I'm gonna wait in a bush and see if I see shit set off again.
In my life, I've been doing that.
Yep, I've ever heard of in my life. Like climbing a mountain on a bicycle is the dumbest shit I've ever done in my life. Yeah, and that's why there was a lot of it. The hills are just murder. You're just like, oh god, today we've got to climb like a 9-mile hill or something like that, and you're like, oh no, it's almost all uphill. And you're like, wow, and this sucks. And by the end of it, you're going left and right, and you're like walking the bike at that point, you know.
Like 9 days now. I'm currently at.
All right, I've been doing that for like 9 days now, uphill. Yeah, no.
Like above 6,000 feet in elevation.
Yeah, that's like riding to the top of the Rocky Mountains. That's insane. No sane man would do it. It's like he in the moment. You see how in the moment he's like, I cannot believe I decided to do this. Right? That was my experience as well. I cannot believe I decided to do that. I couldn't. My friends decided to do it. I got fucking raped. I got fucking roped into it. Because I was the lead singer in their band, you know, but I wouldn't have normally rode across the fucking country on a bike. That's not something I normally would have done.
Quite frankly,
you see what my life is normally like. I would not normally ride a bike across the country, but I did that.
I'm sick of it, but it's all downhill from here in a good way.
At this point in time, he's spending at least 12 hours a day out on the road, and he needs a lot.
Yeah, and it sucks. Like, there's this point where, like, okay, about 10 days in, you're like, I need a day off. It's not like you want one. It's like you need one. I need a day off. I cannot sit on this fucking bike seat for another fucking 16 hours. Even when I lost all the weight and I was down to like a nice lean 176 at the end of the trip or whatever, because we were all kind of like living kind of sedentary lifestyles, like living out of our cars and eating Taco Bell and shit like that in our punker lifestyle. And we weren't fat, but we were definitely sedentary. And like, you know, and I got down to lean again after that trip. And like, you know, and even then, I did not want to ride a fucking bike seat almost ever again. I find it hard to look at bikes like now. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I ever want to ride a bike again, because I'm like, that trip, it was good, but it was like, you know, and I was the only one who felt this way, and I didn't say anything about it the entire trip too, because morale was a really big thing. But I definitely cried myself to sleep a couple nights on that trip, because I was like, oh my god, my butthole hurts so fucking bad. I feel like I've been raped for like 13 days straight or something like that. You sit on a bike seat that long, even a good bike seat that's like $300 and shit, it doesn't matter. It hurts so fucking bad. Even with the right padding, it still hurts so fucking bad. You're like, my butt has been basically being drilled by a bike seat. Bum 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 all day. So you're like, your butt's just going bum 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 all day long. Your butt's, it's like basically the same thing as butt sex. You're just like bum 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 bum. You're constantly being jolted all day long. Your butt's getting jolted on the seat by rocks and pebbles and bumps in the road and all this other shit. And after weeks of it, you're like, I don't think I can get on this bike today. It's essentially like willingly being butt raped, you know? It was so bad.
A lot of food to keep himself going.
Yeah, food is an issue. Where do you get your food when you're out in the desert? Where do you get your water? You can't carry it with you. It's too heavy, you know? It was a scary bit. That one of the reasons we felt that we could do it is we had we had 11 people when we started and we ended with 9, but we had like 10 people all looking out for each other. When there was a problem, we all tried to solve it, you know? It was like that. This kid sounds like he was younger and did this with like maybe 1 or 2 other people, but I would want like a 5 or 10 man crew for this. That's what we did.
According to Ruben, there's always a rotisserie chicken nearby. So as far as
I mean, we were the Denver biking commune, you know? We were like one of 5 biking communes in Denver. So riding across the country was something that biking commune people did, and that's what we did.
for food, I mean, what kind of stuff are you eating and how are you getting it?
When it comes to food, I pretty much eat whatever I want. All the time.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter. Yeah, you burn more calories than like we ate like fatty Taco Bell every meal. You would blow like fucking $13 on fatty fucking Taco Bell or some shit. You'd be eating like 5 chalupas and shit and trying to like literally carbo fucking load because you're riding a bike for 100 miles a day. It's like rowing a boat for all summer or something like that. It'll really take it out of you. Yeah. You burn far more than you could ever take in,
Yeah.
Yeah, see this right here? This is
what we have, peanut butter. Yep. Yeah, he actually did it. I wondered if he was lying, but no, this guy actually did this.
Hey, every day I have
peanut butter. Yeah, you dumpster dive for food. Buy food, 7-Elevens.
These 2 or 3 peanut butter sandwiches. I put my loaf, I make it as small as I can so I can fit it in my shit. And then, because it's all going down the same place. You don't need no fancy ass looking sandwich.
There are days where like I just have like a whole chicken for lunch and like a whole bread. And then for dinner that night is like a whole Little Caesars pizza.
After a week or so of cycling of what Ruben says was approximately 69
I remember.
miles per day.
I forgot about that whole part of it. Like, we would eat like fucking fat asses. That's one of the reasons how I got fat in the first place. It's like we were these biker kids who burn more calories because I would like, literally we would start at every day I would ride from my friend Jay's house in what's it called? Fucking way out west in Arvada, all the way down the Denver Pike Path, down 285 Hampton had a bike path all the way down to I-25, and then I-25 bike path all the way down to the Cherry Creek bike path, and then the Cherry Creek bike path all the way down to the downtown bike path and Platte River. And that is a 26-mile bike ride that we did every day for 3-4 years, something like that. Sometimes twice, sometimes 4 times. Sometimes we would like go out in the morning and come back at night kind of thing, or come out, go out, come back, go out, come back kind of thing. It was just crazy. And we would do this every day, like for a long, long time. And so you could eat whatever you fucking wanted. You were working out for at least an hour every day, like every fucking day, like really, like actually burning the calories and stuff. And so you could eat whatever. And so then when I stopped doing that, when I stopped biking and I stopped being in the band and I stopped doing all that stuff, like I still ate like I was living that lifestyle, and that got me where I am today. It's annoying. Because we literally would go to like in the morning, we would like go to the 7-Eleven and buy donuts and fucking like buffalo chicken rollers and Red Bull. And then for lunch, we would go back to the fucking 7-Eleven and get like a sandwich and Cooler Ranch and like maybe a strawberry shortcake fucking dessert, or maybe Taco Bell, right? And we'd get like 3 or 4 chalupas. And then for dinner, it was always like Chipotle or something better, like Chipotle or Qdoba or God, what's the new one now? I forget the name of it now. It's called Illegal Pete's, or Jeru, which is the Jerusalem restaurant, or God, like all the Chinese restaurants. There were so many restaurants in Denver, and like food was like a way of life there because we would bike everywhere. And so like eating these 3 gargantuan fat ass meals every day, I got so used to that diet. But then I stopped doing the exercise and just kept up the diet, and I would eat like fast food like once or twice a day. And that's how I got fat. I mean, I would live off of like Wendy's when I was driving delivery or driving taxi. I would eat Wendy's like twice a day. I get like they would sell that $5 double stack meal. I get like 2 of those a day. That shit'll make you fat right quick, especially if you're sitting down all day. And so yeah, I like that bike trip, but also like, it got me used to a lifestyle that I couldn't maintain, which was like working out on a bike all the time, like all day, every day. We would just ride bikes around, you know, we would ride bikes wherever we went, you know, band practice, work, like home, sleep. We had a biker commune downtown, so we had to take the I-25 fucking to Platte River bike path like every day for like 26 miles or whatever to get from South Denver, where all of us went to school, all the way home to where we actually lived, you know. And so like when you do that every day, when you ride like 50 miles a day, going across the country is not that daunting. It seems to be to people who've never done it before, but it's actually not that bad if you've been doing it for years anyways. If you've been riding a bike every day for like 20 miles or more, like, you know, riding across the country is not that bad, but it's still like this thing that's a commitment that you can't get out of, and your butt gets sore and you just get sick of doing the same thing all day every day for weeks on end. You get sick of going up the same hill, like the same style of hills over and over again. It's just like, you know, the repetition was just really bad, and I don't know, I you know, I would never do that again, but I'm glad I did it. Yeah. Interesting time in my life.
Clears the mountains and reaches.
I almost skipped out on that trip too, like, because it costs a lot of money. The trip itself costs like $2,700 or something like that. It costs a lot of money. I had to save up quite a lot to do that one. The California trip was like $3,000 too. Like, I did a California trip with my band. It was all the girlfriends and all three of the bands. There was 9 of us, and then the same 9 people went across the country. God, when was that? That was like 2 years later, I think. When I was 19, when I was 17, we went out to California, and when I was 19, we went out to California in the summer for 3 solid weeks in cars. But then when I was 19, we went to Vermont on bikes, you know. And we took off from St. John's because all of our friends went to St. John's.
Cruise because the terrain is flatter. And now, I'm sure many of you at this point are wondering, where the hell is this guy sleeping? What kind of...
You just throw a fucking bedroll down on the side of the fucking road in the ditch. Who's gonna bother you? Nobody lives on the side of the road on the ditch. If you can get away from the eyes of the cops, you can absolutely stealth camp really easily. That's the easy part. Crashing out at night is more about, can you stand to like pitch the tent? You're so tired, you know? But I mean, like, finding a place is never hard. Oh, please pull one of these. Yep. Yep. Oh, no, there's 2 of them, is there? There's a hunter and a shaman. And the shaman is pulling. No, shaman aggroed. There's a hunter with a pocket shaman who looks like a paladin. I will get detected. The hunter caught a hint of me, I think, which is very bad. It sucks. It's always a duo. It's so annoying. Whatever. Hurry up, you. You're taking too long. I need one more totemic, but these guys are like right over this rise, like right here. Can't really like expose right now. I think this is a pretty good spot right here. I'm unlikely to get popped right here, I think. I mean, maybe.
Sleeping for the night when you do these trips?
I'm pretty much like throwing my tent on the side of the road.
Yeah, I mean, nobody cares. If they ask you what you're doing, you're saying I'm biking across the country and I'm an American and I'm free to do so if I want. And they can't do shit to you. You say, I'm biking across the country. There's, you know, I'm not violating any laws. I'm completely legal. I've got my helmet. I've got everything. You got to wear a helmet or you get tickets. So, you know, the helmet was the worst part. The helmet, you get this helmet hair and helmet head and ingrown hairs in your fucking neck and shit like that. Fucking helmet was so annoying. And like, you know, but when you're out in public, if you're anywhere where a cop can see you, you got to have a helmet or you just catch tickets all the time.
Pretty much, like, it's I find like a good bush or like somewhere that I just can't be like bothered.
Yeah, I notice that he's so used to having a helmet on that he's putting a do-rag on afterwards.
Or anything, or like no,
because you get so used to it, it feels weird when you don't have something on your head, you know. Oh, good. It looks like they left. No, there they are. There they are. They are leaving though. Yeah, leave. Oh, good. I'm finally done with this one. Go to the water again. Where's my EvE clients? There we are. Man, I'm full again. Wow. Hey, no, I want you to just pull that.
Sleeping alone in the wild presents a number of dangers, and Ruben encountered his fair share during this trip.
He did this alone, which is fucking crazy dangerous. Crazy, irresponsible, fucking dangerous. And it sounds like he's a loser. How do you go across the country and not get somebody to go with you? I mean, I'm sorry, but like that kind of thing you don't do alone. That's like the Supertramp kid, Christopher McCandless. He wrote Into the Wild or whatever, where he died like 3 miles from a 7-Eleven or something, you know. Because he was like living in a broken down bus as like a fucking road tramp, and he didn't bring the right like knowledge or materials or stuff. He just didn't want to live a normal life, and so he like went out and died. He died because he didn't know how to fucking survive, and he went to go try to survive without any fucking knowledge, and he was canonized for this, and he was glorified for it, and I've always really disliked him. You don't go into these situations without the knowledge. It's kind of like it's like a gun owner who's never taken a gun safety course or something like that, you know? You just know something bad's going to happen, you know? It's like they've come into the situation where it's obvious danger is situation is very fraught with danger, and they're like, you know, and they obviously just don't have the knowledge of how to do it, you know, and so and it's just weird. It strikes me as weird that this guy who is supposedly a streamer can't seem to get anybody to go with him across the country. That's very weird. Like now, it's not weird that he can't get people to go. It's that he chose to do it. I think he can get people to go. I think if you were to put a thing on Craigslist saying, "Hey, I'm biking across the country from blah blah to blah blah. Would anybody care to join me?" I think you'd be surprised how many people are going to be like, "Yes, I'll go." You know. But he didn't seem to have that vibe. Like, I know because I used to actually do a lot of business on, not business, but like I used to do a lot of goings on with the Craigslist in the travel section. I would see people going to certain places, and if I was going to the same place, I would take them, you know, or vice versa. It's kind of like hitchhiking, but you know, it's not like, you know, it's like Craigslist, and you've got like their email. It's scary, and there was Craigslist killers and stuff, but like overall, like the travel scene was actually people just trying to help each other, you know, people who were stranded, people who really needed a ride one state over, but they didn't have the $100 in gas that it would require, so they were like begging rides and stuff, and they were desperate to get home. There'd be like women trying to get home to their kids and shit like that, and you would help them out. And I've always liked the travel scene, actually. And you know, and the you know, and that's the reality. If you're on the road, you must bring other people. You cannot do that alone. Travel is not something that you do alone. It's really not. If you don't have somebody to look out for you or help you with a problem, or like maybe has more resources than you have, say, so if something bad happens, maybe they might like have to pay a hospital bill that you don't foresee, or like a transportation or a plane ticket that you don't foresee, or maybe you break your leg or something in the Alps and they've got to helicopter you down the mountain. It's good to get people who will help you when you're in a bad situation. That is required for travel. And so when I see this guy alone on this trip, I'm like, yeah, you probably shouldn't have made it. Maybe not like as in die or something like that. I'm saying like you should have probably given up, because doing that alone is just, to me, crazy. That's like hitchhiking alone, right? One of the things about the travel scene, right, is yeah, there's hitchhikers that kill people. That's a reality that happens, right? But you don't take anybody in the car if you're alone, you know? You only take people when you have people, and then if there's people in the car, trust me, nobody's going to get murdered, you know? Probably not. I mean, maybe they're going to get into a double or triple homicide just to kill some random dude for their car, maybe. But nah, probably not. Not when there's witnesses and shit. That's not how that's going. So yeah, when you travel, don't do it fucking alone. That makes you such a fucking target. It doesn't matter. Like honestly, I feel like I could even spot like people traveling alone in Denver as maybe a mark, essentially, you know? I can see them coming like as a taxi driver. When I know that someone's traveling alone in a city that they don't live in, they're an easy mark, and I can get them to pay for you know, like a more expensive meter. I can take a longer route. I can do all kinds of things. It's not like I do things like that. I was never like that. But I mean, I can do that. I can see right away that they're not from here, and they're not going to prosecute me. They're not going to do anything to me. So it's like, you know, and that's the thing about traveling. That's why you don't travel alone, is because if you don't live there, the people can fuck you and get away with it, you know? That's why you don't ever travel alone. It's not a wise decision, you know? That's Christopher McCandless did it. Christopher McCandless is fucking dead. You know what I'm saying? And God bless the dead or whatever. Rest in peace. But I mean, like, fucking idiot went out there with no knowledge of survival. What did you think was gonna fucking happen? And everybody in my scene wanted to fucking glorify Christopher fucking McCandless for being the fucking super tramp. And I was like, yeah, super fucking idiot.
In this case, animals...
Real motherfuckers don't die, you know?
For a threat.
And sure, the book was good, the movie was good, whatever. But I mean, like, real motherfuckers don't die. Real motherfuckers survive this shit. You understand me? Motherfucker died because he didn't have the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Fucking straight up died. He was a terrible example of trying to survive on your own. He was the worst example that I can think of. And they try to make it like he was the best one. Fuck it. No.
Had a close call.
Fuck Christopher McCandless. And I know he's dead. I don't care. Like, he gave being a tramp a bad name, kind of. You know? In my opinion. And they really wanted to fucking, like, glorify him, you know? I forgot he was that old. He was, like, born in 68, right? Yeah, he died in the Alaskan wilderness. Who the fuck does that? He was, like, 30, and he was hitchhiking across Alaska. You know who does shit like that? Sociopath killers. That's who you know who fucking hitchhikes across Alaska? Serial killers. That's who does shit like that. And he fucking sucked at it, so he fucking died. He died of starvation. Literally almost in sight of a 7-Eleven that he didn't have the fucking survival skills to go scout out. He just sat in the bus until he starved to death. And he ate poisonous berries, and he ate his own puke and drank his own urine and all this other stupid ass shit. Mushrooms and berries and bird poop and roots and seeds and shit. He was eating porcupines and basically garbage food, which is just entirely unnecessary if you fucking pick up a book in a fucking library and learn how to make a fucking trap like a real fucking survivalist. But nah, the super tramp who wanted to make it on his own into the wild or whatever, fucking died of starvation like a half mile from a 7-Eleven. And that's the fucking problem. You don't know it. If you don't know how to do it, don't do it. You know what I'm saying? Just don't do it. Like, if you don't know how to do it, don't do it until you do know how to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't go out into the wild thinking that you can just survive in the fucking Alaskan wilderness with no money, no skills, no knowledge, nothing at all. Please do not do that. Please do not go to the bottom of the Marianas Trench with a fucking submarine driven by a fucking Mad Catz controller. Please don't do stupid ass shit in survival situations. Please don't mishandle guns. Please don't shoot up schools. That's not what guns are for. Guns are for shooting animals. You know what I'm saying? It's so stupid. Guns are not for humans. Guns are for animals, you fucking savages. Like, I'm sorry, but that's the case. It's the actual reality. Guns are for animals, not humans. And when we have to use them on humans, it's because humans are behaving like animals. Not because of fucking Uvalde, Texas. You know? And so, yeah, everybody in the fucking hipster douchebag scene wanted to fucking glorify this guy as some kind of goddamn god because he died, you know? And I was like, yeah, the Supertramp died because he sucked at it. Why are you fucking vilifying him? Not vilifying, but why are you glorifying him?
Of the night, nearly injuring him in the process.
So I set my stuff up, and I'm pretty comfortable with the area. So I fall asleep for like an hour.
Like, I'm sorry, but I actually come from the Rocky Mountains, and I know how dangerous it is for stupid-ass Supertramp to trick a bunch of fucking idiot, hipster douchebags into wandering into the mountains alone. Isn't that basically the premise of a really dark story? So I tricked a bunch of people to wander into the mountains alone with no help and no knowledge. That's pretty much what he did. He tricked a bunch of idiots to go out into the Alaskan wilderness and Rocky Mountain wilderness and fucking die, essentially. You know? And like and we were supposed to love him for this. I'm sorry.
I'm like, I wake up for a second and I hear this huge animal tumbling down this hill.
Yeah, it's a bear.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and it's a bear.
It lands right next to my tent. Like, if it was like a couple feet, you know, to the right, like it could have fallen right on top of me, and I didn't know what it was at the time. And I was just laying there, you know. I was super.
It was a bear checking you out who slipped and fell or something.
Vulnerable position. Yeah, I was just like eyes open, you know, like pounding out of my chest.
Yeah, that's when you pull out the Glock. And you go and you fire a warning shot and get that fucking predatory animal out of your fucking camp before it decides to eat you while you're sleeping and actually attacks you.
Because then it starts to...
That's what real Colorado mountain men do. This idiot, I'm not so sure.
It starts to do like this...
I've had a bear rush my camp before.
Breathing thing where it's trying to, like, you know, see what's around it and stuff like that. And all I hear is like...
Yeah.
Like if I stuck my hand out of the tent, I could have touched it, basically. And I had no idea what it was. But
it's
you can just
bear.
hear like the size when it fell and like when it's breathing.
What the fuck was it?
And so like I waited. Eventually it like trotted away, but I ended up looking up like what makes those sounds and stuff like that. And so I guess it was just a really big deer. luckily, because it has that thing where it smells its surroundings to get familiar with it.
About 3 weeks into this trip, Ruben finds himself in the middle of South Dakota. At this point, his pace had increased dramatically thanks to the flatter terrain, and his body was slowly becoming more conditioned to the journey after struggling beforehand in the Rockies. Determined to push forward, he was averaging close to 100 miles a day and was making good time to PP Creek. But just as he was hitting his stride, tragedy struck. In early September, a dip in Canada's polar vortex brought uncharacteristically low temperatures to the region for that time of year and persistent rain showers. One day, this rain forced Ruben to end his cycling day early, forcing him to camp out on the side of the highway without any water, and he was running low.
Yep, and that's how you die like Christopher fucking McCandless, because you're alone. And I'm sorry, but if you're not alone, you probably won't die. You can at least eat the other person at the very worst, you know? Like, you know, you're not going to die of starvation if you have other people with you. You can eat the other people. Look at it like how a sociopath would look at it, right? Who has no feelings or whatever. Like, you can always eat the other people, right? That's how an asshole would look at it. I look at it like when you're in a problem, who's going to get you out of it? Is it you, the person who's been riding on the same bike seat for like 12 days straight, who can't barely walk because his butthole's torn by the bike seat, you know? Are you going to get yourself out of that problem? Like if somebody decides to rob you while you're in a motel room or something like that, right? No, your 9 homies will, though, if you bring them.
The rain kept him from resupplying. To make matters worse, a venomous caterpillar had found its way into his glove, causing a painful rash to spread around his hand. At this point, cold, wet, and in pain, he decides to hold up for the night and hope for better weather in the morning so he
See, we did not have bad luck like that. That's worse luck than I got. Worst thing that we did, or worst thing that happened to us, is we were fucking around with a really big, giant fucking like caterpillar tire, like for a really big construction you know, thing in the back of a school, and we were rolling the girls around in a tire. You know, you ever done that? You ever rolled around in a tire before? It's pretty fun. You get to roll over and over and over again. So fun. And so we were playing in a tire, and the first time that we put our friend Sarah G in the tire, and when she rolled out of the tire, like after her came a nest of black widows, and that was very scary. We saw black widows like kind of scatter out of this tire and scared the living shit out of all of us. Her the worst. She was like, oh my god, are they on me? You know, and it was just bad. She was like screaming like in terror, and like, you know, and it was just like, you know, it was bad. It was bad when the black widow nest got disturbed, and all these crazy black spiders with fucking like not all of them, but it was like 4 black spiders fell out. It was crazy. And it was like it was a mother and some babies, and it was just like, yeah, like that was scary, because she was like in there with them. She was rolling around in a tire full of black widows, you know, and she lived, thank God. Nothing bit her. They were probably more scared of her than she was of them, you know, frankly. But I mean, that's the bad memory that I remember from that trip. I'm sure there was tons of horrible shit, but wait, now why did this go bad suddenly so quickly? God damn it. Fuck off. Too many coyotes. Oh no. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. Stay. Why am I dazed? Stupid ghost paws. Okay.
Fly at the nearby town of Murdo.
I may not show it, but we can.
I have told you to go dock so many times. Please go dock.
Peanut butter.
Please go dock. I've told you to go. For like 10 minutes now, I've been telling you to go.
Tomorrow's gonna be colder than it is today.
In the morning, the rain stops, and Ruben sees his chance, so he beats.
Christopher McCandless was doing the exact same thing this douchebag was doing, right? they all diary to themselves because they're chronically alone. And so they go on these trips alone because they don't have friends. And they think that when they're successful on the trip, they'll finally have friends or something. And then they go and try and do something that, frankly, one person just can't do alone. You know?
This nearby town.
Now, he managed it because he was young, skinny, in good shape.
Request accepted.
You know, probably really pig-headed about it and stubborn and really trying to stay alive and, you know, do the whole bit. But say if he was my age, I doubt he would have made it.
Unfortunately, though, this resupply run would lead to his rock bottom moment of this entire trip.
Never underestimate a thirsty young 20-year-old man's ability to do anything the fuck that they put their mind to. Really. You know?
Stranded in the middle of nowhere.
I get up, I pack my stuff.
He strikes me as pig-headed. His family was probably like, please do not go across the country by yourself. You will die. His family was probably so against this. And he probably told them, fuck you, I'm doing it. I'll be on stream. It's fine. You know, and it's like, you know, no, you shouldn't have done this alone.
When I started biking, it's probably like 15 miles away.
See, like when I did it, you would see all these, I would watch the shadows on the ground. There'd be like 10 bikes and you would see the shadows of 10 bikes going in the evening sun. It was so beautiful. I remember like that was like the most beautiful trip I've ever been on. Yeah.
Still really cold, still just nasty wind. Probably like.
But most of the actual scenery looks like this, you know, it's not that interesting. Like, you know, scenery wise, it's beautiful as hell. Colorado especially, fucking New Mexico especially, but like it's not always like this.
Block before I get to the hotel, my tire popped.
It's just like land for as far as the eye can see.
My inner tube, I only had one left. And
yeah, that's really bad. You definitely need, like, at any given time, 5 to 10 spare tires, you know, and when you get to a certain city, like say, I saw that he was going through Chicago, right? So when you're in the Chicago outskirts, you stop at the Walmart, right? You stop at the Walmarts and you, like, we stopped at a lot of Walmart parking lots and slept there. Because when you have 10 people, they're not going to do anything to you. You know? They would set up in the back Walmart parking lot with our tents, and they'd be like, "What are you doing?" "Oh, we're from Colorado. We're biking across the country, and we were hoping that you wouldn't arrest us or roust us because we need a safe place. We don't want to fall victim to local criminals or, you know, get run over or get hassled by cops. Would you guys mind if we just slept here tonight?" And they're like, "Oh, really? You're from Colorado? Yeah, you want to see my ID?" And they're like, "Yeah," and they see the Colorado ID, and they're like, "Shit, you guys are biking across the country?" Yeah, will you let us sleep here?" "Yeah, you can." They always do. Not always, but I mean, like when they realize that you're dead serious and they see that that you've been biking for days and days, they will help you.
You know, that small, you know, the small stores they got in those towns.
Yeah, the pilot.
So that following day, I check out.
Yeah, you check in a motel and you have them ship you tires at that point. This is the kind of problems that you're going to come up against, and you have to be you know, one of the nice things about bringing 10 people is probably like in those 10 people's like belongings, there's going to be you know, a spare tire. And this is why you always travel with other people. You don't travel alone. Ever. Like, you can travel to the Bahamas alone. I'm talking about, like, driving across the country or biking across the country or bumming around Europe, or that's another thing my friends did that I didn't do. I couldn't afford the ticket to Europe, but my friends also biked all over Europe for a year or two. And I didn't go on that one. I'm not moving to Europe for a year. I'm not doing that. You know, I love you guys, but I'm not gonna fucking move to Europe for a year. I'm not doing that. I love Europe, and I wouldn't mind living in France or Paris or London now. But I mean, like back then when I was 20, I would have died leaving Colorado. There's no way I would have left Colorado. No way. No way. I would have died first. My scene was Colorado, you know?
With my last inner tube, for some reason, I don't even know what
tires. Notice you can see I'm not lying. I brought up the tires a bunch, didn't I? I actually did drive across did fucking ride across the country on a bike. And like, trust me, the tires are the worst part. They're really scary. The tires, they'll pop once a day, you know? And you're like, fuck, I've got to shut down the bike, flip it upside down, get all the gear undone, get my kit out, get the tire out, blow the tire up, get some fucking jelly, fucking get the tire the right way, submerge the tire in water to figure out where the leak is and all this other stupid shit. And you're down for like 45 minutes to maybe the rest of the day. You know, it's like you're down for like 45 minutes when a tire pops. You're not getting back on that road, not fast. So the people relax and they start talking and they help you in whatever way they can help you, but they're just waiting for you to fix your tire, and it's horrible. You know?
There was like something stuck in the tire itself, but
we were like middle class white kids, so we all have fancy fucking like, you know, hybrid fucking mountain bike tires too, and it didn't help.
Another block in,
I mean, he's got a fancy road bike, and I'm sorry, but like, I mean, yeah, road bikes are good. I get it. I like road bikes, and I know that that I mean, we have road bikes, but I mean, road bikes constantly get flat tires, constantly.
But another block in, leaving the motel, my last inner tube just pops.
Oh.
I didn't know what to do, like, you know.
No, you're just like there. You go to houses in the area and you knock on the door and you say, hey, does your kid have a road bike? I'm stranded and I need a fucking road bike tire, and please don't call the cops on me. They can't help me. I just wondering if you have a road bike tire, and I don't want to come in your house. I don't want to harass you. You can take a picture of me if you want. Like, I just need a road bike. I had to do this several times. I need a road bike. I need a road bike tire, you know?
I don't know who to ask, or like, you know,
you ask people that live there if they have a road bike. Otherwise, you're going to need a Walmart, pretty much.
A stranger just the way that they're a stranger to me. And then, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this guy, he has a bike on the back of his truck. He asks me what's wrong with my bike, because he sees that it's in pieces. I took it apart so I can try to, you know, think of something to rig it up. I told him, like, dude, I'm fresh out of inner tubes, and I don't know where to go. Like, the next town is however far away. He's like, I have inner tubes.
I have inner tubes. I know not to travel without more than I need. Yep.
And I'll give them to you.
I'll give them to you.
I can't even look at him because I'm like, you know, I'm kind of embarrassed. Like, I'm about to...
And you should be McCandless Jr. here.
Start crying because he's giving me inner tubes. And I just say, like, thank you. And I try to get it out without my voice cracking. And
this is how McCandless probably cried too. And doesn't it just go right to your heartstrings or whatever, right? But really, it's an idiot who just didn't prepare. Remember the old fucking remember the old parable about the grasshopper and the ant? And the ant works all winter or whatever, and the grasshopper's like, yeah, I'll just deal with it when it happens or whatever, right? And the ant's like busy all fucking summer and all spring and all fall, and you know, and he's been farming and he's got food and all this, and the winter comes around and the ant looks up and the ant's fine and he's in his fucking anthill and he's or whatever. I forget, is it grasshopper and the ant? I think it is. And the grasshopper fucking freezes to death, doesn't he? Or whatever happens in that story. I think the ant has to help the grasshopper, which is the other part of the parable. If the ant doesn't help the grasshopper dies, and the grasshopper is just too stupid not to prepare for the fucking future. Is it really their fault even? It's just they just didn't think of that particular problem occurring until it happens. And so the good ant helps out the grasshopper even if the grasshopper doesn't get ready for winter, you know? But it's still a mechanless type idiot who didn't get ready for the winter, you know?
You know, as soon as he walks...
So sure, luckily somehow, some way, some dude came along who just happened to have a winter jacket, basically. It's the same equivalent, really. For some reason, some dude had a winter jacket and was willing to give it to you. You got fucking lucky, you know? You should have frozen in the winter cold, like the grasshopper, you know? And so, yeah, and this is why you don't travel alone. This is why you have to depend on to quote the great Tennessee Williams, you must rely on the kindness of strangers. It just is how humanity works. You must let them help you when you're in trouble.
I'm just like crying my ass off, dude. But that particular encounter...
And you'd be surprised how hard that is. You'd be surprised how hard it is to let them help you when you know that it's acknowledging to them, God, and anybody listening how fucking stupid you've been. If it's like a pride thing, you'll die before you'll ask directions, you know?
I felt it was bigger than, you know, chance itself, you know? And sometimes it just kind of plays out like that, so...
In what had to be a case of divine intervention from the meme gods, thanks to this...
It's weird because a lot of my life stories seem to be the sort of things that they write like YouTube videos about. It's kind of weird. I led an interesting life.
The PP Creek dream was still alive. Ruben's quest would continue.
Wow.
So Ruben hightails it out of South Dakota and is blazing a trail eastwards through the Midwest.
You couldn't pay me to enter North or South fucking Dakota. I'm going Montana, I-25 through Cheyenne, and then east through 76, Nebraska, Iowa. Nothing but cornfields. In North Dakota, you'll freeze to death in the middle of the summer. In South Dakota, you'll freeze to death in the middle of the summer. You will definitely have way less help in these two states than any of the other states in this entire thing. You know, these are empty. I mean, Nebraska is empty too. Of these three states, these are the three states you don't want to do North Dakota or South Dakota though. You want to do Nebraska because it's closer to the equator. Do you get what I'm saying? The further north you are, the more you're gonna freeze your fucking balls off. Right in July. Even in July, you could probably die of fucking hypothermia in North Dakota. You couldn't pay me to take the route he took. Nope. Wyoming, Colorado, Nebraska, Iowa. Where did he go? It was Ohio. Illinois was good. Chicago's good. It's good to go through big cities. Indiana and Ohio. Why do we go through big cities? Because the Walmarts sell us road bike tires when we get a flat. That's why. We don't do fucking bumfuck North Dakota. Nope. Because where are you going to get your help from? Where are you going to buy your extra tires from? Do the Hicks have a Walmart in that 300-person town? Probably not. Are they going to give you a road bike tire like that wonderful, angel investor did? Maybe, but it's unlikely.
Along the way. While he didn't have any more tragic inner tube incidents, there were still the struggles pertaining to a cross-country bike trip. Every day presented a new challenge.
Your torn butthole, your fucking shoes, your fucking shoes wear all the way through because you're pedaling all day. Like, you're scraping your fucking shoes on the fucking concrete all the time, trying to brake and stuff like that. Your tires are constantly flat. You lose a lot of fucking weight, so it's hard to keep the carbs that you need to even to keep the bike running. Water's a problem, food's a problem, the sun is a terrible problem. You better have really good, probably 2 or 3 sets of really good sunglasses. I brought 2 good pairs of Oakleys when I did my fucking California trip, as well as the fucking bike trip, because if that sun is burning your eyes for 3 weeks straight, you will not have good vision anymore at the end of it. You know, your eyes will be fried. You will have lost some of your vision.
Dude, I just had a look for my phone.
That's how snowboarding is. If you don't wear sunglasses for certain snowboarding days, you will be blinded for like 3 days, you know? This stuff, as a Colorado mountain person, I just came up in this sort of like up the hill survival stuff. But I mean, like, so I feel blessed. I just had more experience with it than I think most people did. Living in hyperthermia conditions, living in blizzards, living in fucking the mountains, camping, shooting guns, riding bikes, all that stuff, right? I have a lot of experience with it, and I'd say that snowboarding, all of it, and I would say that almost all of it is so hazardous that if you don't know all of the hazards and how to deal with them and what to do when you have a wild card situation, you won't make it, especially in camping. If you're camping in the Rocky Mountains and you fuck up, you will die in a blizzard. It almost happened to me, you know? I had a friend one time woke me up at 5:15 in the fucking morning, and he saved our lives. Seriously did. He saved our lives, and he was like, "Get up now." And I was like, "Okay." And he was like, "The blizzard's coming in. We got maybe 15 minutes to break this shit down and run for our lives." And I was like, "Are you serious?" And he was like, "Yeah, take a look outside." And I saw that he was absolutely right. And I looked outside, and I was like, "Yeah, we gonna die. We're gonna die." And he was like, "No, we're not." and I was like, no, we're not. I'm just saying, if we stay here, we're gonna die. And he was like, yes. And so we packed up in 15 fucking minutes a hypothermic tent that was good for 0-degree weather, and like all this shit, got it all done. My feet were frozen because we had trekked up 5 miles through the snow, trying to reach the higher areas where there wasn't as much snow. And like, you know, and I had trekked uphill for 5 miles during the day on that hike, and we slept all night, and I almost lost my feet because I had been walking in bad shoes with bad socks that had gotten soaked in the snow that we were walking in. I didn't bring good hiking boots, and I almost lost my feet. I almost lost my life. And that was the last time that I even remotely went into the mountains without every single last fucking like dotted I, crossed T. If there's some kind of superstition or something, you don't go. That kind of stuff. Because when you begin to realize that one simple problem will end your life, you know, pretty fast. Like, you know, that you don't fuck around with stupid shit like riding through bumfuck North Dakota without enough tires, you know? When we left Colorado, I think between the 11 of us that left during the day that we left, all 11 of us had 25 fucking tires each or something like that. So I mean, what's that? That's like 250 fucking tires, you know? This is another reason that you bring people. You don't do this shit alone. Also, another reason that you don't do this alone is the best sex you will ever have is with a girlfriend who's on a fucking camping trip with you in your tent. It's the best sex you'll ever have. Just don't travel alone. Traveling's not for being alone. It's just not, it's not good for internet and recluse losers like Christopher McCandless and this guy to go traveling alone. I understand that you were able to do your life like that and the internet like that, but it's in gaming like that, you were able to do it all alone. Travel and survival is not like that. You can do it if you've been doing it. Otherwise, you better have been doing it. Otherwise, you're going to die if you're alone. I'm surprised this guy made it, frankly.
Look at that thing.
Yeah, spiders, right? Yeah, like, see? The spiders are fucking freaky. When you live outside, the spiders will terrify you. They're huge, and they're black, and they're looking like they're gonna kill you in one hit, you know? Yeah, that's...
all over the place, too.
They're all over. The spiders are everywhere. If you're sleeping on the side of the fucking ditch, there are spiders in your bag. There are spiders everywhere. It's frankly was one of the harder parts of it for me. It was constantly like seeing spiders everywhere. Spiders live outside.
You gotta stay strapped.
You gotta stay strapped. Yeah, you gotta be ready. You gotta be watching for those spiders, man.
After a couple more weeks of chilly traveling through Minnesota and Wisconsin, Ruben...
It's weird. He had the same exact spider story, didn't he? I had a spider story to tell about black widows in a tire. That's the one, like that's the one story that he related, wasn't it? It's weird how much my life stories rival these people who get in these YouTube videos for their stories. It's weird. My story was exactly like his.
To Chicago, Illinois.
I mean, he actually did this, like me. He actually did this. He's telling the right stories. I believe that he did this. I didn't believe at the start of it, but I do believe it now. I don't think this was a hoax.
Where he makes a pit stop to visit some friends and family.
Yeah, you got to stop. You got to, like, sit in a chair all day instead of riding a bike, you know? Yeah.
Good morning.
Oh, no. Did I fuck
Day
up?
29. I've been out for so long. I love what I'm doing. Raising money. Bringing awareness. And that's the shit. So...
And from here, he's on the home stretch. Only 400 miles separate him and PP Creek. He could see the light at the end of the tunnel. He pushes through...
The worst part is when you reach PP Creek, you get robbed. That's how travel works. They never tell you, but when you reach your destination, usually you get robbed somehow. You leave a cell phone or you leave a pipe in your... Okay, so we had to go driving back 95 fucking miles in Ben Lomond, California, because my friend Jay left his $385 bubbler in the motel fucking desk drawer next to the Gideon Bible. And he had that bubbler for 4 years or something. So we had to bike back 95 fucking miles for his $400 fucking bubbler. I forgot all about that. Or no, that was the California trip. We drove 95 miles back to Ben Lomond. Yeah, I'm sorry, that was the California trip. It was not the bike trip. It was the California trip. We had to drive back 95 fucking miles because my friend forgot his bubbler in the fucking motel. It sucked. It sucked so bad. We had to drive 200 fucking miles for no reason.
And finally reaches...
And we had 5 cars. We had a convoy.
The promised land of Ohio. He's welcomed by the rather humorously named Sharts Road.
We had 4 cars. It was 4 cars. Yeah, it was my Pontiac, their van, the other van, the other band van, and my car. It was 3 cars. We had 3 cars. 3 cars.
Its presence, a symbolic mimetic North Star, if you will, affirming Reuben that PP Creek...
Sharts Road, come on.
But a stone's throw away. By this point, Reuben had been cycling and braving the outdoors for 36 days.
I don't like that it seems to be like a joke is what inspired him to do this. I wish it had been something like, hey, if I bike across the country, will you give money to cancer victims? Kind of thing. And I'm sure he did some of that, but I mean, honestly, I think his real reason to do this was some insider fucking dumb internet joke, and that's kind of a sad, like the reason that I wanted to bike across the country was because I hadn't seen the country, you know? Now I have. I've been in like 35 states in the Union. I've lived in 7 of them. Like, I have been all over this country.
Isolated from society the majority of this time.
I lived in Jersey for 10 years. I lived in Cali for 5. I lived in Nebraska for 5. I lived in Colorado for 15. I lived in Hawaii for 2. I lived in Illinois for 1. I've lived in the Northwest for 2.5 now. So what's that? That's 8 now. 7. Excuse me, 7. 7. I've lived in 7 different states. And I biked across all the way from I can show you the route on the map. It's like from fucking Santa Fe all the way to Montpelier. I've been to Paris. I've been to London. I've been to Madrid. I've been to Canada, Mexico, Hawaii. I have traveled a lot. It's not like I'm bragging. I'm just saying, I have actually done it, and I don't know.
In what was like,
you couldn't pay me to travel alone. I just would not be willing to do it. It'd be like saying, hey, would you take $1 million to rape your own mother or some shit, right? I'd be like, no. It's the same exact reluctance. I wouldn't. If someone's like, hey, I'll pay you $1 million to ride across the country alone on a bike, I'd be like, no. I'll probably either lose my life or sustain serious injury or like have something really bad happen, like get robbed or disappear. No, the answer is no.
Endeavor of his entire life. One can only imagine at this point.
Yeah, like, you couldn't pay me to go alone like this. What if you disappear? You know? What then? Does your family bike across the country retracing your routes? Does a detective do that? Probably not. You know? They probably, like, secretly laugh behind your back like they secretly laugh behind Christopher McCandless's back. And, you know, while he spins in his grave, you know? They secretly laugh at him, you know? It sucks, but that's what actually happens. When they realize that he died a half mile from a 7-Eleven, they secretly laugh at him. Or whatever it was, 3 miles, whatever it was.
In his journey, the sense of blissful joy he was feeling as he pedaled along the highway knowing PP Creek was only a matter of miles away.
But I'm sorry, but okay, if I get stuck in some place like that bus for 3 weeks or whatever, I am gonna walk the perimeter 50 billion fucking times. And by perimeter, I mean like a 1.5 mile radius in a circle around it, trying to see what is close to my camp. And I do this in Rust. I do it in the Rocky Mountains. I do it when I camp. I do it in all situations. How Christopher McCandless fucking died half a mile from 7-Eleven is beyond fucking me. Because he had like 3 weeks to figure out that there was a 7-Eleven a half mile away. Like, whatever. Fucking idiot.
I just saw what the bridge looked like, and I was like, oh, I know
I don't like speaking ill of the dead, but I am convinced. I'm convinced we haven't heard all the stories yet of all the tramps that have hit the road because of stupid-ass McCandless, who probably disappeared and never showed back up again. And that picture on the back of the fucking milk bottle, you know, of your missing friend or whatever, that's because of Christopher fucking McCandless. Idiots going out into nature who don't know how to go out into nature are not to be glorified, you know? It's a really bad pet peeve of mine. It's not like I'm particularly good at it either. But I mean, I know not to do it. That's the difference, you know? Like, I mean, I have like probably some more survival knowledge than this guy does, but it doesn't... Like, I've lived on the streets in the wild longer than him, but I don't think, like, you know, that matters really. I see somebody who I think could be easily tricked or taken advantage of or is just gullible to his own mistakes. And I wouldn't trust this kid to make it across the country. I look at him and I think, nah, they're going to eat you alive. The road is a cold, hard place. You know?
I mean, so I was like pulling up and I was like shaking. Oh man, it felt so good. It was really exciting.
Oh yeah, when he finally got there. Yeah, I bet. PP Creek, yeah. It's good to see it. It's good that he made it. I'm surprised that he made it, and I'm glad that he did.
At approximately 4:20 p.m., Ruben rolls his battered body and bicycle up to PP Creek. He finally had made it, and emotions took over.
Yep, and his hand is half infected and about to be chopped off. His feet are like these bloody, beaten pulp. His like fucking legs are like so sore. His butthole is like torn because he's been riding on his essentially his sphincter. You ever think about that with a bike seat, right? You ride a bike seat, what are you actually sitting on? Essentially your sphincter. So if you sit on your sphincter for 3 fucking weeks, your sphincter hurts really, really, really fucking bad. Yeah. Now that, I mean, but the triumph of finally getting there, it was probably worth it. I must admit it was for me. Yeah. He's crying tears of joy. He's like, yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Holy shit, oh god. Oh my god. Oof. Oh my god. Let's go. Oh, dude, I'm really crying right now. It's so
yeah.
stupid.
It's fucking Phoebe Creek. Oh my god.
Now, this story probably garnered him a lot of fucking attention, so that also inspired a whole bunch of other idiots to go out there and ride across the country alone. And, yeah. Being alone and an easy target on the road is a wise idea.
It's so stupid. It's fucking Phoebe Creek. Oh my god.
Oh, it's so wholesome. The madman did it! Poggers! Feeling exhilarated about what he had just accomplished, Ruben would then share what he did to his Twitter page. And to say that people were happy for him would be an understatement. Thousands would show up in the replies of this poo-poo to PP accomplishment. And in a short time, Ruben's tweet would receive just under 700,000 likes. Folks inspired by Ruben's poo-poo to PP quest lined up to donate to the Yemen GoFundMe, resulting in an impressive sum of $11,466.
Not bad. He did get a lot of money to a good cause. Now I think better of him. I guess to get that 12 grand, he had to put his life at risk. I get it. That I do get. That kid doesn't strike me like he's got 12 grand. So, like, you know, or maybe he does now that he's a streamer and stuff. But, like, you know, but yeah, yeah. And that's beautiful. I'm glad that they sent it to Yemen.
Celebration for one man's dedication to a meme, and Ruben wasn't even done yet. After PP Creek, Ruben decided that he would continue his trek all the way to Maine, so that he could make the trip a full cross-country outing.
Do the whole thing.
And if possible, he wanted to visit PP Island, which was nearby and impossible to ferry to. After braving some chilly conditions in the northeast part of the states, Ruben would finally reach Maine in October. Unfortunately, though, he was unable to get into Canada for PP Island because of COVID restrictions. Bruh.
I actually wanted to go further than Maine. But at the time, they weren't letting anyone into Canada.
For COVID.
Yep.
Yeah, so, but up there was PP Island, and honestly, I wanted
he's
to.
Obsessed
I
with
was
that,
ready,
and he
but they wouldn't let me.
In total, Ruben
Why?
had traveled just under 3,600 miles from Washington State to Maine, and he did this
It's
in
quite
50 days.
Yep, 50
all
days.
while
Yep.
becoming
Yeah, I think it was like, for us, it was like 30, I think. Washington State to Maine. See, we like, but we only did half what he did.
an internet legend in the process. This man truly put himself through hell, not just for the meme, but to raise a little bit of money for Yemen, to learn a bit about himself, and to push his cycling abilities to the next level. So what's in store for Ruben next? I'll let him take it from here. What's the next trip? You told me earlier you had another trip, like, to top this off. Like, is this next trip gonna be your Mount Everest of toilet humor trips, or what's you got planned?
Well, I'm gonna hold the toilet trips off for a second, but the next one is gonna be it's gonna be starting in San Diego, goes to Miami, up to Boston,
and then
down
back
Las
to San
Vegas,
Diego,
and then to Washington. At most 13,000 miles.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna be gone for like 7 months.
Anything you want to say to the people watching this video? Anything you want to promote going forward?
Yeah, I have this trip coming up, which I'll be posting about every single day for the next 7 months. What's today? November?
Yeah, November the 20th.
See, he doesn't strike me like he has the discipline to do this sort of serious stuff. If he doesn't even know what day it is, but he's got a trip coming up. Like when you got a big trip coming, you start counting the days before, even 3 weeks before. You start counting like 29 days till I go, 28, 27, 26. And he doesn't even know what day it is, and that seems weird. You're planning a 7-month trip, but you don't even know what day it is. You know, and it's just like, something about it gives me misgivings.
So in about a month's time, I'll be heading on the road full time and just kind of living it up. So
yeah, man. Ruben, I won't keep you any longer, dude. I really appreciate your time, and coming on and allowing me to tell your story on my channel.
Absolutely, dude. Thank you so much for having me. This is really fun.
The story of Sad Papaw is a light-hearted internet tale sure to get a chuckle
Sad Papaw
out of anyone. When this image of a downtrodden, burger-wielding grandpa goes viral, the Twitter community banded together in an effort to cheer the old-timer up. Enjoy. Our story starts on March 16th of 2016 with retired iron industry worker, 66-year-old Oklahoma resident, Kenneth Harmon. Mr. Harmon had just turned 66 years old on March 16th, and to celebrate his birthday, he thought it would be fun to have his grandkids over for a good old American hamburger cookout. So Kenneth Harmon puts the word out to his grandkids, telling them that he's about to whip up some of them old-fashioned pawpaw patties, and y'all need to come through. So he sends the word out to all of his grandkids, 6 of them to be exact. After a few phone calls were made, Pawpaw would pick up some ground beef and buns and other burger supplies from the store and made sure that he had everything he needed for a solid cookout. Later that afternoon, his granddaughter Kelsey Harmon would arrive and was ready to grill out with Pawpaw. So believing that the other 5 grandkids would be arriving shortly after Kelsey and Pawpaw went ahead and started firing up the grill and threw some patties on. Because surely the grandkids will be here soon, might as well have the burgers ready for everybody to eat and have a good time. Pawpaw would go on to grill a total of 12 patties, all of which were associated with buns, pickles, and other fixins'. However, as he was removing the final patty from the grill, Pawpaw and Kelsey had come to the sad realization that none of the other grandkids had arrived. It seemed as though the other grandkids had bigger priorities in their life and they couldn't spend a few hours to celebrate their own grandfather's birthday. And honestly, everything that we have discussed so far with this story is pretty routine stuff. Let's admit it. There's tons of elderly people around the world that are completely neglected by their children and grandchildren. However, this situation starts getting mad crazy whenever Twitter gets involved. So after realizing that no other grandchildren would be arriving, Kelsey and Pawpaw began eating hamburgers together. And while Pawpaw is eating his burger, Kelsey pulls her phone out and captures one of the most iconic photos captured in internet history. This iconic Sad Pawpaw photo taken by Kelsey features him looking down with this solemn, morose expression on his face, and I could only imagine he was going through what must have been extreme disappointment and a feeling of neglect. The photo that Kelsey took of Sad Pawpaw would be uploaded to her Twitter account with the caption "Heard Around the World," and this caption that Kelsey would post associated with this photo just made the perfect recipe for a viral tweet. Here's the caption right here. "Dinner with Pawpaw tonight. He made 12 burgers for all 6 grandkids, and I'm the only one who showed love him." Now after dropping this tweet, the two would go on to enjoy their evening together, eating on burgers presumably, but something would happen that completely caught Kelsey and Pawpaw off guard. It seemed as though Kelsey's photo and tweet caption really struck a nerve with wine mom / relatable white girl Twitter, and the post would begin to go viral. People generally responded to the tweet with sympathetic posts making reference to missing their own grandparents or expressed their sadness for Pawpaw in this situation. "I've lost all my grandparents. If yours are still alive, show them you love them, please. Hashtag grandparents, hashtag be kind, hashtag love. Poor Pawpaw made all them burgers for no reason. Why couldn't they just show up to Pawpaw's dinner? I can't look at that Pawpaw picture without wanting to cry." Like, who does that to their grandfather? Crying emojis. Kelsey's tweet about Sad Pawpaw was going absolutely viral. This thing would go on to get 100,000 retweets in just a few hours. And both her and Pawpaw were completely floored with the reaction that the internet was giving them. While many of the tweets were generally statements of sympathy, there were some users who were actively looking to find the other grandkids online and call them out for flaking on Pawpaw. And Kelsey would go on to admit that Twitter users had been sending death threats to her cousins, and the whole situation had been blown completely out of proportion.
What?
Pawpaw is okay, guys, I promise, and he loves all grandkids equally. Please stop sending my cousins death threats. Everything is okay. One of the grandkids who had been identified on Twitter was Brock Harmon. who, after Kelsey's tweet went viral, would go to Papa's house the following day and ate lunch with Papa himself. He posted this tweet: "Guys, don't worry, I came to Papa's house and I'm having a burger with him." But despite his effort to appear, this wasn't enough. He was still getting hateful reactions from Twitter. Why just now? Oh, so you can go after you go viral, but not before. You better be apologizing. So people on Twitter were taking the plight of Sad Pawpaw very personally. It's almost as if Kelsey's cousins had personally betrayed the trust of their own grandpa. So in a sense, Sad Pawpaw not only became a meme, but he became the grandfather of the internet. But with Twitter taking this situation also seriously, was it really that serious in the first place? I mean, was Sad Pawpaw or was Kenneth Harmon emotionally distraught by his grandchildren not showing up that evening? It turns out that he really wasn't. Now, surely he was a bit disappointed, but in an interview where Daily Mail got the entire family together for lunch, Kelsey, Pawpaw, and the other grandkids helped give better context to what Pawpaw was going through at the time, and also describe who he is as a person and better define his personality. Check out this interview right here.
I have a solemn look sometimes. People say I don't smile enough. My personality.
He's just very sarcastic. Papa's very sarcastic. Like,
I was AFK for 25 minutes there or something. The account was gonna log out. I was AFK for 15 minutes or something, right? I go to fish, and inside of 10 seconds, I'm being attacked. But I go AFK for 15 minutes, just fine. But when I actually play the game, immediately attacked.
As soon as I saw the picture, I was like, that's just his face.
Yeah, that's just his
I always want
face.
everybody to be there, but I don't get upset about things like that.
I think that's what people
don't get
are
upset
wrong,
about
is like
things
they
like
don't understand that we are a very family-oriented family. It's not like we just ditched our grandpa. I mean, we see him regularly, so.
I wasn't like the picture show. This thing exploded.
After watching this interview, you know, I can't help but feel as though Kelsey was clout chasing super hard with that tweet she made, because this entire interview undermines the sentiment behind her tweet. It seems as though Pawpaw didn't even give a shit. And
She was like trying to guilt trip her cousins. She was actually doing something good, I think.
The situation for some followers.
Like, what the fuck? Anyway. Like, I'm the only cousin that showed. What the fuck, guys? You know?
Now, the funniest part about this whole story, it's not this interview, it's not the whole reaction from Twitter, although that's definitely a huge component of it. It's really the ending of this story. The ending of this is funny, but it's also one of the more wholesome things that we got out of 2016. Because of the massive online fame Pawpaw gained and the supportive outcry from the internet, the family decided the one thing they could do to give back would be to have a public cookout open to everyone to attend on March 26th to show their appreciation for the sympathetic comments that Twitter users had gave to them. The announcement was put up by one of the grandchildren, Brock Harmon. Just got done talking to Pawpaw, and he wants to invite everyone out for a burger next Saturday. Pawpaw would like me to formally announce he's having a cookout next Saturday on March 26th from 11 to 4. Pawpaw will be cooking burgers. Burgers will be $2 a burger. We will also be selling t-shirts with the picture of Pawpaw on them and this saying, "I had a burger with Pawpaw." This is an invitation for everyone who would like to come. Pawpaw said he will cook and take pictures all day if people show up. This cookout will take place in 15835 State Highway 39, Purcell, Oklahoma 73080. Bring your friends and family out and have a burger with Pawpaw. Again, this is an open invitation for everyone. The cookout would turn out to be a massive success with hundreds showing up, some local residents, some traveling across the states, and some even coming from different countries, including Australia and Germany. And here's some clips from the cookout. Enjoy.
Hard to believe that this many people are excited about a cookout.
Yes, more than one person showed up for burgers with Sad Pawpaw this time around. Sad Pawpaw, whose story went viral on the internet recently, hosted a cookout Saturday, and people from all over came to a small Oklahoma town to attend.
There's folks here from Pennsylvania, Virginia, New York, California, Germany.
And on Saturday, hundreds snapped up the $2 burgers and bought I Ate a Burger with Papa t-shirts.
This was really good. It was real juicy, real flavorful. It was awesome.
And you guys came all the way from Wisconsin?
Yep, absolutely. It's the middle part of Wisconsin, so if it's the glove, it'd be like right there.
Okay.
From Crestview, Florida.
From where?
Crestview.
Crestview. Is that by the beach?
Yeah, it's like 20 minutes from Destin.
Where are you from?
About 8 miles from here, and we debated whether or not it was worthwhile.
I really want to cop one of those I Ate a Burger with Sad Papa t-shirts, but I guess if I had one, I'd be a liar because, well, I didn't eat a burger with Sad Papa. But after the cookout, Sad Papa went back to living a normal life, as with many obscure internet memes do. And as far as I understand, he's doing okay. I think he's just living that retired life. There's a tweet by Kelsey Harmon pretty recently, early of January 2019, where she says, "How are people still concerned about my grandpa?" I don't think she would have put a tweet out about him if there was something wrong with him, so I'm assuming that everything with Sad Papa is okay. If anyone knows anything different, let me know. But shout out to Papa and shout out to the Harmon family. Your boy Wavy Web Surf loves him. A good wholesome meme. And by golly, that was the most wholesome meme that we probably got out of 2016. And what begins as a silly meme on Facebook eventually turns into a historical meme gathering of individuals in the United States with the first name Josh, all coming together and fighting for the title of being the king of all Joshes. This is the story of the Josh fight. The day of me filming this video, April 24th of 2021, will go down as an important day in internet meme history. Why? Well, because the Josh Swain fight actually happened. Don't know what I'm talking about? Well, allow me to explain. You guys are in for one hell of a story. To begin, let's go back exactly 1 year from today, April 24th of 2020. A Facebook user named Josh Swain logs in and creates a group message, adding dozens of other people also named Josh Swain, and subsequently writes this. "You're probably wondering why I've gathered you all here today." One of the other Josh Swains replies, "Because we all share the same name?" And the OG Josh says, "Precisely, April 24th of 2021, 12 p.m. Meet at these coordinates. We fight. Whoever wins gets to keep the name. Everyone else has to change their name. You have to prepare. Good luck." And for those curious, the coordinates listed in the message pointed to a large field just west of Lincoln, Nebraska, right off Interstate 80. Now, I think it goes without saying that this was most likely a joke. You know, the concept of challenging everybody else with your name to a battle royale fight to the death, winner keeps the name scenario. It's just absurd and ridiculous, right? Josh Swain would share a screenshot of his Josh Swain group message to Twitter later that day with the caption, "There can only be one." People thought the gag was humorous, and the tweet actually went somewhat viral. And there were many people in the replies of the tweet sort of ironically backing the idea of this Josh fight and saying that they would go to it to watch the spectacle. But it was pretty obvious that most people were taking this as a joke. And it really seemed like at the time that the Josh fight would die with this tweet. But curiously, it didn't. Now, I reckon if you guys watch this channel, you probably remember the Storm Area 51 situation from 2019, where a Facebook user created a tongue-in-cheek event post suggesting that if the internet banded together in real life, it would be possible for us to storm Area 51 because, you know, well, they couldn't stop us all. The Storm Area 51 thing was a Facebook meme that sort of took a life of its own, and this Josh Swain thing, well, it worked similarly to that and also got out of control pretty fast. With Storm Area 51 still somewhat fresh in the memory of those invested in meme culture, the Josh Swain fight seemed like another opportunity to manifest a meme into reality. So throughout 2020, you would see memes intermittently popping up referencing the Josh Swain fight across a slew of social media platforms, with users jokingly portraying what the event might look like and sort of advertising it in a roundabout way. Eventually, it would become more difficult to parse out jokes from people actually taking this seriously, and the prospect of the event actually taking place was looking like it could be possible. The hype around the event became more realized in 2021, with hundreds of people on subreddits like r Swain Bowl unironically expressing their intent to attend the Josh fight. And when April came around, the month that the fight was supposed to take place, chatter around this topic turned into a roar, and it really was looking like there was about to be a flock of people showing up to the middle of nowhere in this field in Nebraska. What did the original Josh Swain, who started this meme, have to say about this? Well, by the time April had come around, not much had been said from the original Josh. But on April 17th, a troubling post would appear on the Josh Swain Battle subreddit that would prompt a response from him. The Redditor who posted this thread had two concerns regarding the event. The first concern was that there was construction that was blocking the primary route to where these coordinates were.
Oops.
The second concern was that, well, these coordinates, they were on someone's private property. The post reads, "Scouted the location. Slight problem. Need immediate clarification." Elaborating on the first issue, he says, "That gives us problem number one. There's a ton of construction blocking the north entrance to the road. If you're going yourself, you need to come from south of I-80. And then he elaborates on his second concern. "When I got there, I pulled in, and there's a bunch of big red barns and buildings with this red brick house out front. When I rang the doorbell, after a while, this old gentleman came out to greet me. So problem number two, he had no idea what was going on and didn't even know anyone named Josh Swain. After a brief talk, I gave him some forewarning that a bunch of people might show up at his house randomly on the 24th and took my leave. Too long didn't read, we might have the wrong address. Someone needs to sort this out in less than a week or we might have a problem." The original Josh Swain was pinged in the thread and he had this to say, "Hey, I'm actually the Josh Swain that created the group chat and posted the original message to my Twitter here. Thank you for bringing this up. To be totally honest, I did not intend for this to actually happen. I picked the coordinates totally at random as the geographical center of the United States. This is actually somewhat concerning. Is there any way I can contact you and maybe help mitigate this issue? I do intend to be there, however, I don't want to make it a burden on some innocent landowner nearby, and it would be helpful to have someone familiar with the area to contact. I'll PM you some of my contact info." And not long after this interaction, a makeshift sign would appear on the old man's property informing those who might show up that the event wouldn't be taking place in this lot. At this point, it appeared as if Josh was taking some actual responsibility for the event itself, almost acting as an organizer of it. After all, he knew that if he didn't rein in this madness, there could be hundreds of people showing up to some random guy's house, and who knows what kind of trouble that could get you in. So on April 20th, just 4 days before the event, Josh Swain would make a post to the Josh Swain Battle subreddit, the primary planning hub Redditors were using for the event. Rather than discouraging people from coming, he gave well thought out and clear instructions for anyone planning to attend the event. It is a lengthy post, but the too long didn't read version is that the location was changed to a public park and that there would actually be no blood sports involved. Instead, anybody named Josh Swain would be allowed to enter a rock, paper, scissors tournament, and anyone with the first name Josh would be allowed to participate in a free-for-all battle with pool noodles. He also encouraged people to bring non-perishable goods for a food drive, and started a donation fund for losers of the battle to change their name. And some of the money was going to a medical center foundation. And finally here, I would like to read off just a personal note given from him in this instruction thread. Like I said, it's not often that someone has the opportunity to have the attention and focus of a large number of people, and so I thought it would be a great idea to use this spotlight to bring word to a few worthy causes. Please consider donating to show the world how the internet can turn an exercise in absurdity into something beautiful. And with the original Josh Swain co-signing the event, it was looking like the thing was set in stone and was actually going to happen. There were many people saying that they would be present and live stream the event for other people to watch if they couldn't come. Whatever the case, over the next 4 days, the internet would just have to wait anxiously to see if the Josh Swain fight was going to happen or if it would be a disappointing flop like the Storm Area 51 event was. April 24th, 2021. The day had come, and lo and behold did the Joshes come out in full force. Streams began to pop up. While they were in low quality thanks to Nebraska internet, it showed a mass of people at the park. It was really happening. The event began with the original Josh Swain acting as an MC and starting off the event where he rock, paper, scissors battled the only other Josh Swain that attended. And it was a tense rock, paper, scissors battle. The OG Josh Swain that started it all won the battle and retained his right to the Josh Swain namesake. Following the rock, paper, scissors battle, people with the first name Josh were permitted to duke it out in a multi-stage pool noodle battle, winner of which would get a pool noodle signed by all combatants and would be given the title of Ultimate Josh.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
After many rounds, a winner was finally decided. They call him Little Josh. The Josh to rule all Joshes, the king of them all, baby. And that really was it. 100+ people came out for about an hour or so to make internet history. OG Josh Swain kept his title as the Josh Swain, and he's definitely going down as an internet legend for accidentally pulling off what has likely been the greatest meme-inspired IRL gathering witnessed in history. From what I understand, Josh Swain was able to raise over $6,000 from the event that's going to charity, and they also got non-perishable goods to donate to food banks. I mean, at the end of the day, this is one of the most wholesomely badass things I've ever seen. There's probably going to be more high-quality footage uploaded by people at the event over the next few days, and you'll be able to get a more in-person feel for what it was like. Unfortunately, the streams that are available now when I'm making the video aren't that great, but you can still see the spectacle of it all and appreciate it for what it is. But holy shit, man, I was inspired by this and just had to hop on here and talk about it with you guys. If you were around in the early days of YouTube, a comedy video series known as Unforgivable, it was unescapable. Unforgivable. While these comedy skits are fondly remembered, few know the touching story behind the two young men responsible for this early viral hit. In what's likely one of the most beautiful creative friendships in internet history, this is the story of Hodge Stanson. So really the biggest question I see when it comes to the Unforgivable video series is, who is the Unforgivable guy? The Unforgivable guy is a Texas-born screenwriter named Gunnar Stanson. Born October 1st, 1986, Gunnar first began creating short films in the early 2000s, alongside someone who would become his longtime friend and creative mentor, Logan Hodge. Logan Hodge, born March 28, 1987, met Gunnar at a Texarkana, Texas high school during their 9th grade chemistry class as teenagers. The two fostered a strong friendship, with the common interest of music and film serving as the bond between them. They would at one point form a band together in high school, but their musical endeavors always took a back seat to their film interests. Finding each other on congruent creative paths, the two formed their film production company called Hodge Stanson, which is a combination of their last names. They were inspired by the likes of filmmakers such as David Lynch, Woody Allen, and David Lean, to name a few, and hoped that one day they could create their very own feature-length film. But for the time, they were relegated to making short films. Now, their short film work during high school remains largely unknown, but their film work past 2005 after graduating, that's a different story. Coinciding with the year of their graduation, YouTube was released, and it was quickly becoming the hub for online video content. As it grew, the filmmaking duo would see potential in the site as a way to broadcast their projects to the masses. They would officially create their Hodge Stanson YouTube channel on July 3rd, 2006. Behind the scenes, they had been experimenting with both scripted and unscripted video content for YouTube. Gunnar typically acted in the projects, with Logan directing and holding the camera, but this wasn't always the case, as there are many examples of Logan acting as well. Now, despite all their efforts writing and scripting short films, it would ultimately be an unscripted, improvised monologue performed by Gunnar that would bring fame to the duo. And I think it goes without saying that that unscripted, improvised monologue was Unforgivable, uploaded on August 22nd of 2006. And boy, did this Unforgivable video blow up. It's really hard to explain how big it was for the time, not only in the sense of views, but also just the general impact that it had on YouTube and its community as a whole. The video became so popular that it inspired hundreds of parody videos from YouTubers across the site. Someone making a parody of another YouTube video is pretty commonplace now, but at the time, that was kind of unheard of. You mostly saw parodies of TV shows or movies, but a parody of a YouTuber was something new, and I think that speaks to the greatness of the Unforgivable video. People really fell in love with Gunner and his hilarious performance, making him somewhat of a proto-YouTube celebrity, one of the first. And of course, this video wouldn't have been possible without the direction and background chuckling of Logan. It was definitely a collaborative endeavor, and one that brought fame to the Hodge Stanson Productions name. The video and its catchphrase became so popular that for a short time, the Hodge Stanson channel had officially licensed Unforgivable merch that was being sold at Hot Topic. And hey, if you happen to have one of these shirts lying around, hit your boy up and might be willing to take it off your hands. But anyways, after the massive success of the first Unforgivable video, the Hodge Stanson boys would go on to create numerous episodes of it, 7 in total with 3 spin-offs. Each episode basically being the same format, with the only difference being Gunner's improvised monologues. The last Unforgivable episode was uploaded to YouTube on June 5th of 2011, and the series has remained defunct ever since. And this is largely due to Gunner and Logan losing interest in the series. A few months after the final episode in 2011, Gunner and Logan were interviewed by a blog called The Juicy Expressions, and in this blog, viewers finally got some insight into the creative process behind the series. Whose idea was it to film in the woods? Logan. We were filming in the woods already, another movie called Bye, and it was a piece of shit, so we got frustrated and we started making our own jokes. What inspired you to make Unforgivable? Gunner. Okay, well, here's the story. Logan introduced me to this group of rappers called NWA. He basically introduced me to Ice Cube, and when I heard their lyrics, they were really tyrannical lyrics. I thought it was really funny, and I don't really care about rap, but I thought that they were really funny, and it made me start thinking about saying really crazy things. Also, inspiration came from the P. Diddy commercial for Unforgivable Cologne. The Unforgivable Cologne commercial was banned from television because they had a crazy interracial scene. And for those curious, here's the commercial he's talking about.
Believe in me. Love me. You're unforgivable. None of them are pussy got her pregnant.
What's weird is I actually remember seeing this commercial from back in the day, but never really made the connection. So you heard it first here. Unforgivable was partly inspired by some P. Diddy cologne. You can't make this stuff up, guys. This interview also contains a rather interesting portion which explains why the creators lost interest in making the Unforgivable series. The two seem to express some disappointment that the unscripted, low-effort Unforgivable series completely overshadowed their more fleshed out and artistic short films that they had been creating for their channel. Unforgivable has 16,552,294 views as of July 5th at 6:58 p.m. How did it make you feel to know that the video was so successful? Gunner. It makes me feel kind of dejected because it's kind of unfair because the projects that we actually worked on and had a goal at hand didn't do as well as Unforgivable. We like people to spend time with them. Unforgivable was like a fluke. LOL, I find myself laughing at it each time. Logan. We spent so little time with Unforgivable that it's hard for us to feel what others feel about it because it literally took no effort at all. What are your goals for your videos? Gunner. I don't have any goals really as far as the videos go. Unforgivable really came from boredom, and we were misguided on another project we were doing, and it just kind of happened, so there was no goal there. But for our other videos, I would like for people to watch and support. Logan. Yeah, we really would like for people to take the time out and get to know us in our new videos. This brings me to a point in the narrative that I've neglected to elaborate on thoroughly. That point being, Gunner and Logan never intended on Unforgivable to become their main bread and butter content. It was always an afterthought. The content that they really poured their heart and soul into were the various short film projects they had been creating since 2006. Standouts include a short film they created called The Visitor, another short film called The Long Afternoon, and an episodic sitcom they created called Fruitheads. Gunner and Logan had hoped that they could potentially use the attention garnered from the Unforgivable series to attract fans for their various passion projects, but unfortunately this never truly became a reality. Ultimately, the Hodge Stanson Another short film called The Long Afternoon, and an episodic sitcom they created called Fruitheads. Gunnar and Logan had hoped that they could potentially use the attention garnered from the Unforgivable series to attract fans for their various passion projects, but unfortunately this never truly became a reality. Ultimately, the Hodge Stanson brand would forever be defined by Unforgivable, and the other projects failed to ever really take off. Without much of an explanation, uploads on the channel ceased in late 2011, and sometime after, the Unforgivable videos were unexpectedly unlisted from the channel. For the time being, fans would be left in the dark. The two would eventually return in October of 2015, and this time with the trailer for a film that they had apparently been working on for years called Florence, a matter between two detectives. While it was released on the Hodge Stanson channel, the movie is credited under Logan's then recently established production company called the North American Kino Eye. Directed by Logan and featuring Gunnar as a detective, the hour-and-a-half-long feature film was published 2 days after the trailer dropped. It remained up for a limited period of time and only received a few thousand views. Florence in its entirety has since vanished from the internet, and it's rather difficult to locate nowadays, with only traces of it being available via Wayback Machine shenanigans. Apparently it was a pretty solid movie, receiving an 8.5 on IMDb, though only 6 people have given it a score. After the publication of Florence, the Hodge Stanson channel would fall dormant again, and in all reality, this was kind of the end of the project. Honestly though, I don't think there could have been a better way to cap off this collaborative project between Gunnar and Logan, because after all, one of their biggest goals was to create a feature-length film, and well, they were finally able to do it. After the end of the Hodge Stanson project on YouTube in 2015, it's rumored that the two parted ways amicably, with Gunnar moving to upstate New York for unknown reasons and Logan remaining in Texas. And at this point, it gets a bit muddy in regards as to what the two individuals were up to in their personal lives, more so with Gunnar, who never really kept up with social media. But we do know what happened to Logan. Logan had maintained a Twitter for quite some time, and it appears that he had begun to prioritize his creative efforts to music production, something he had low-key dabbled in for years but started to take more seriously. Logan would go on to join a hip-hop collective based out of Oakland, California called Green Over Records, which he collaborated with for many years despite him living in Texas. His most notable musical achievement was the production of an experimental electronic/industrial hip-hop album called 12 Living Generations. This album would catch the eye of Universal Records, and he would be signed to the label sometime in 2017.
Wow.
Things were really looking up for Logan, but unfortunately, as 2018 came around, tragedy struck. On March 9th, 2018, just 19 days before his 31st birthday, Logan Hodge was found dead in his Bowie County, Texas home. The cause of his death isn't publicly
Overdose.
available information, and out of respect for Logan Hodge, I will avoid any speculation on this matter. Logan's untimely death likely weighed heavy on those close to him, and it would certainly be devastating news for his longtime friend, collaborator, and man he considered a brother, Gunnar Stanson. After receiving the news of Logan's passing, Gunnar honored his friend by relisting all of the unlisted Unforgivable episodes and many other short films they created together on the Hodge Stanson channel that had been unlisted years prior. And to pay further homage, he has recently uploaded previously unseen projects that they had worked on dating back as far as the high school days. In the description box of the original Unforgivable video, Gunnar has left a short but endearing message for his dearly departed friend. Rest in peace, Logie Bear. Since meeting each other in that 9th grade chemistry class as teenagers, Gunnar and Logan maintained a starry-eyed and obsessive passion for their shared creative interests, drawing inspiration from each other every step of the way. I think the best way to showcase the admiration and respect these two shared for one another is best explained by these two quotes, the first of which is from Gunnar. When asked in an interview in 2013 how he met Logan, he responded with this: "We met in chemistry class in 9th grade. He served as my stalwart model of an artist. I learned how to behave and conduct myself as such. He also taught me how to establish a template." And to understand how Logan felt about Gunnar, all you really need to do is read the notes of the album that got him signed to Universal Records, dedicated to my best friend, Gunnar Stanson, without whom this record would have never materialized.
I wonder if it's
Thank you for your
good.
generosity, brutal honesty, and endless encouragement. I know you're gonna hate me for writing this, but you deserve it. This man came up with a Kickstarter idea that was so stupid that in a weird way, it was actually kind of genius. And the internet would rally behind the man to make his potato salad fantasies a reality. This is the story of the Potato Salad Kickstarter. Our potato salad story begins on July 3rd of 2014 when a post appears on Kickstarter simply titled Potato Salad. This campaign page featured a stock image of some admittedly delicious looking potato salad and a brief note from the campaign's creator, entrepreneur and software developer Zach Danger Brown. In the description area, he writes, "I am making a potato salad." He elaborates further, basically, "I'm just making a potato salad. I haven't decided what kind yet." And in regard to the amount of funding that Zach was requesting for this project, he only wanted $10. $10, it's a modest request, probably just the amount you need to buy a bag of potatoes and the fixings needed to create the carbohydrate concoction that is potato salad. You know, fucking mayo, potatoes, herbs, stuff like that. Now, with donation rewards like you get to receive a bite of this hypothetical potato salad if the campaign is successful, you would imagine that no one would donate to this shit and it would quickly fall into obscurity. You think it would be skimmed over, no one would pay it any mind, and it would basically receive no funding. But that's not what happened.
$590.
Interestingly, the ludicrously mundane nature of the Kickstarter drew attention to it almost immediately after it was posted, and donors would begin stepping up. But why? Well, this is the internet. Dumbass shit like this happens all the time, but I'll do my best to explain why I think this happened. Zach Brown's Potato Salad Kickstarter could almost be viewed as a parody or a satire of a normal Kickstarter. A joke mocking the often indulgent nature of online crowdfunding in general. The simplicity of Zach's Potato Salad request, it was just such a novelty.
Now, what can I help you
and
with?
This was one of the first real meta jabs at the concept of online crowdfunding in general. There was humor to this. It was so simple. It was so stupid. That's kind of what made it stand out amongst all of these hyper serious campaigns trying to build a rocket and send it to Mars. This guy just wanted to make a bowl of potato salad. Who can't get on board with that? This campaign got attention almost immediately. Attention that initially came from, you guessed it, Reddit. One Redditor would post a link to the Potato Salad Kickstarter to the Offbeat subreddit around the time it was posted. The post intrigued users, with many expressing support for the campaign and voicing